IndiGo now has been pulled up by the DGCA, that it's completely the airline's responsibility as far as the crew management is concerned, sir.
Thank you. First of all, we'd like to congratulate the DGCA for having stuck to its guns. We believe that this crisis is artificial in nature and it has been going on not now, it's gone out of control now. But this is some of the tactics that the airlines use anytime they have something not going their way. So they create a small artificial crisis and put pressure on the regulator and the ministry to roll back whatever they don't like. Dr. Faiz Ahmed Kidwai, who is the present DG, is a little bit more stricter person and also a subject matter expert on aviation. So he knows what's going on. He had called the airlines earlier. He had called us as well. And we had pointed out these issues. And first of all, there were 2 years given to airlines to comply. It's not like it was 6 months or, a year or so. First, the airlines came and said that it'd be too premature to implement it. The DGCA gave them a year. Then they came back and said that, you should implement it in phases. The DGCA agreed to that as well. Phase 1 was implemented in July and phase 2 in November. So to suddenly wake up one morning and say that you have shortage of pilots is bordering on criminality. Now, what about the other airlines? They are implementing the same FDTL. It's not airline specific. It's across the industry. How come they have no cancellations? You've increased your schedules without planning and you assume that you would be able to circumvent the law. This time it didn't work for you. Bad luck.
So you're saying that this is an artificial, this has been done deliberately so as to arm twist the aviation watchdog so that there could be a rollback of the rules and they can get their own way at the cost of the passengers of this country.
That is correct. That is correct. You see, you cannot have shortage overnight and you cannot implement rules overnight either. So that is the reason the DGCA has given them 2 years to comply with the rule. They know that, and the traveling public should be able to know that there is something called fatigue risk management system. This is something that the advanced countries, the developed countries have implemented, and India has joined, albeit a little bit later, but they have eventually joined that regime and now are implementing that so as to not, unnecessarily fatigue the pilots who are doing a very critical job. And this has been accelerated post the Air India crash. So now to say that we don't have pilots, when the Honorable Minister of Civil Aviation on the floor of the Parliament has clearly stated that we have adequate pilots in India, I don't see overnight how you ended up in this situation. This was just a pressure tactic, we put it to you, that they wanted to do so that you can roll back the FDTL. Unfortunately, it's gone a little out of control. And our hearts go out to the ground staff who are unnecessarily, in the firing line right now. They are not able to answer because they don't have answers themselves. And it's normal for passengers to get agitated because it's, running their program completely out of sync.
So, sir, how does IndiGo get this free run? Because as you said that it's been in the works for 2 years, time has been given, sir. So has there been no action or any sort of vigilance also from the authorities, sir? Has there been laxity on that front as well? That IndiGo has got this space to, in fact, go ahead and sort of, as you allege, that create this sort of a crisis deliberately, perhaps?
Totally correct. I would say that the authorities have been very tolerant. They have really, bent backwards to accommodate not just IndiGo, Air India or SpiceJet or all those airlines. And to be fair, they have tried their best to comply. Air India, I did not have any major cancellations. So I think they have complied with what they are doing and what they were supposed to do. And it's only IndiGo which apparently has increased the number of flights. And this clearly indicates that there is a mismanagement of the resources. And they should be penalized very
Sir.
strongly for this issue that is created. And what the pilots are saying that when the passenger inconvenience is attributed to the pilots, heavy fines are put on the pilots, and a civil aviation regulation stating that you need a 1 year notice period, which no other industry or organization has. Now that the airline has created this problem, how are you going
Yeah.
to deal with that? At least some heads must roll, and not just putting the ground staff in the line of fire, or low ranking officials. Somebody at the top must pay for this particular incident.
Right. The passengers, of course, are the common man is bearing the brunt of it as of now. But thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for joining us and putting your side forward. As this is, of course, the biggest aviation crisis that we're seeing, the turbulence that we are, in fact, witnessing, especially this year in the aviation industry. We continue to get our viewers more updates as Republic TV, the only channel to closely track this massive crisis. But in the meantime, we're getting in some shots from Tiruvananthapuram. There is some, we have some breaking news coming in. What? On what? Okay, I think we have Shankar from the airport. Shankar, tell us more. What are you picking up from? What is the situation right now at Tiruvananthapuram?
The growing crisis which the IndiGo is facing has stranded hundreds of passengers in Thiruvananthapuram International Airport and all the other airports in Kerala as well. Like we are standing in Thiruvananthapuram Airport now. The airport you can see on the visuals were an empty look as hundreds of passengers were creating problems here, quarreling with the IndiGo staff and quarreling with the security officials, asking about the reason why a clear answer they could not provide on when they would be able to travel on the tickets which they have booked days or weeks in advance. Now after quarreling with the officials, the passengers have left back to their room, to their hotel rooms, and waiting for some confirmation from the IndiGo officials on their possible travel in a couple of hours, or sometime it may last long. They have not, the passengers have not been given a proper answer on whether they would be able to get a flight in the coming hours or not. Most of the passengers are basically from Pune, Delhi, Bengaluru, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Bengaluru and other northern districts. They all came here in the morning for flying in their scheduled flights, but they could not due to reasons which the IndiGo staff could not disclose. Even the Republic TV spoke to the staff of the IndiGo flights. They were even claiming to us that they cannot give a proper answer due to some technical issue or some other crew management problem. They could not arrange the flights on time. Now the airport authorities informed officially to us that as many as 10 flights at Thiruvananthapuram International Airport have been delayed, and in Cochin International Airport more than a dozen flights have been cancelled, and some are still being delayed, and even Kannur International Airport more than dozens flights are delayed. There is no cancellation in Kannur. Only the cancellations happen only in Cochin International Airport. Now we can see still some passengers are speaking with the security officials on to know about their possible time for traveling again. Now we reached here in the morning, and when they reached the airport, we could see so many of the passengers were protesting against the inordinate delay of flights, and they were quarreling with the officials here. But the IndiGo officials or other management at the airport could not give a proper answer on why the flights have been delayed and what was the solution they would take on arranging their
Yep.
flights later.
Right.
Now it was informed by the IndiGo staff that the flights to Bangalore and Bangalore, Pune, and Chennai will be flying at around 2 o'clock. They have took some measures for resuming the journey of some passenger, but still there are hundreds in queue, and they are in hotel waiting for getting a confirmation from the concerned officials.
All right, stay on with us, Shankar. We'll just go across to Jammu now. From north to south, this turbulence has hit the airlines viewers all across Jammu. My colleague from Jammu is joining us right now. Gursimran, tell us what are you picking up from the Jammu airport right now? Gursimran.
Yes, Rakshita, we're outside the Jammu airport, and here the situation is similar to what has been witnessed all across the country, because the people here are also suffering. We have spoken to more than a dozen people since morning, and they are saying that they were not informed by the IndiGo authorities with regards to the delay that has taken place. And even now, as you see, you will see that the people have still lined up here outside the IndiGo reception center that is there, and they want to know that what is the fate of their tickets and when they will be able to fly to their destination. Reason being that since morning, out of the 11 flights, one has already been cancelled. 10 out of the 10 flights that are operational, 8 have witnessed delay, and 2 that are not been delayed for now. They are later in the later part of the evening. They have also come out with the 2 call center numbers that are there, and the people, they are asking the IndiGo staff that what lies next for them. They want to know that what will be the fate of their tickets. We'll try to speak to some people also. Sir, आप लोग बात कर रहे हैं, क्या बताया गया अभी तक?
अभी देखो टिकट कल का बना रहे हैं, क्या पता नहीं मेरे को पड़ रहा है।
अभी कल का बना रहे हैं, आज नहीं रहेगा?
देखो क्या कल का बना रहे हैं, कहाँ कल का बना रहे हैं टिकट।
अभी आप लोग कहाँ रहेंगे, खाने का कुछ?
इनसे पूछ रहा हूँ मैं, क्या हमारी व्यवस्था क्या किया जाए, हमारा रहने खाने क्या व्यवस्था की जाए।
अभी कुछ नहीं बताया?
कुछ नहीं बताया।
So this is the actual situation that is here on the ground, that the people, they want to know that if they are the IndiGo staff is rescheduling their tickets with them, then what is the the statement or the what they want to tell the passengers, that what has happened, because it is not very clear from the authorities. Yes, Rakshita.
क्या कह रही हैं? Right. Many thanks, Gursimran, for joining us, for coming in fact, passenger from Pune Airport, Akash, is joining us live on the broadcast right now. Mr. Akash, thank you so much for speaking to Republic TV, sir. Please share what is happening at the Pune Airport, because this is a crisis that sees its epicenter there at the Pune Airport, sir.
Yeah. So basically, from yesterday, around 10 in the night, I'm here in the Pune Airport, and from that time onwards, they are saying it is delayed by half an hour. And now it is like 2 p.m. over here. Till now, they were like the service was very bad. There was no water. There was no food that was given. The staff was not here to support us or tell us what was happening. Major flights of IndiGo all are being cancelled. Delhi, then Hyderabad. Right now, I'm waiting for my luggage over here. If you see on the other side, I will just switch my camera. So people are still, waiting for some luggage is here, but people are not here. They are up on the other side. Everybody is like surrounding the IndiGo staff, which are a few over here. And people are just, frustrated with the service. What all happened because of this chaos that has been created. It has been said that it is DGCA's decision that the pilot will not fly more than 2 flights in a day, and as well as the staff. So here in the Pune airport, the flight was ready at 11 p.m., but there was no pilot who could flew us. When the pilot came, then there was no staff. then the same way it was like going on for like 12 and more hours.
We're also learning some people had to just stay. Some of the passengers are stuck, staying only in the aircraft, unfortunately. Okay, I'm told that, okay, we have to step into a very, very short break. Thank you so much, Mr. Akar, for joining us from the Pune airport as the passenger himself giving us a view of what is being witnessed there, what is happening since yesterday, since last evening. He's being stuck. And we are getting more and more voices, viewers, from across the country as this aviation crisis has hit the length and breadth of the nation. The biggest aviation crisis. Republic TV, the only channel to track and get you all the answers that need and raising the questions that need to be answered. Viewers, we'll be right back after a very, very short break. Don't go anywhere.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा,
राजा और प्योर मसाला, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल बनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do on the battlefield. What happened in the deserts and plains under Kharga Corp was not just another military exercise, but a carefully planned signal about capability and intent along our border with Pakistan. The numbers tell part of the story, with over 20,000 soldiers organized into battle groups that can fight independently, suggesting that the army is moving away from old defensive tactics toward a more aggressive approach that can strike on multiple fronts at once. This is not the army that waits behind borders anymore, but one that is ready to take the fight into enemy territory if provoked. The scenario itself, a cross-border offensive in response to a Pakistani attack, makes clear that India is no longer content with merely defending its borders, but is prepared to hit back hard and fast. What makes Ram Prahar different from past exercises is how everything worked together like a well-oiled machine. Tanks like the T-90S Bhishma and upgraded T-72 with night vision capabilities worked alongside artillery guns like the K-9 Vajra and Pinaka rocket launchers that can hit targets 90 kilometers away. The army showed it could cross deep rivers under fire using special bridge-laying tanks that can set up a 20-meter bridge in less than 4 minutes while enemy guns are firing at them. Special forces were dropped at night from heights of 25,000 feet deep behind enemy lines, showing that Indian forces can strike anywhere, not just at the border. But the real story is not about tanks and guns alone, but about how technology has changed warfare itself. The exercise used drones by the dozens, from surveillance platforms to swarms of 50 kamikaze drones that can attack targets on their own, alongside systems that can jam enemy drones and shoot them down. The time between spotting an enemy target and firing at it was reduced to just 5 minutes using computers and artificial intelligence that help commanders make faster decisions. Electronic warfare units jammed enemy communications across multiple frequencies while keeping Indian networks secure, and cyber teams practiced attacking enemy command centers digitally. Modern war is no longer just about who has more soldiers or bigger guns, but about who controls the invisible world of communications, satellites, and computer networks. The army demonstrated it could move, strike hard and hold ground inside enemy territory within 72 to 96 hours, showing a strategy built on speed and shock rather than slow, grinding advances. This matters because in today's world, with television cameras and international pressure, military victories must come quickly before diplomacy forces everyone to stop. It reflects lessons from recent conflicts, where hesitation costs more than decisive action and where the side that acts fastest often wins, regardless of overall strength. Equally important is that most of the equipment used was made in India, from Dhanush howitzers to indigenous bridges to homegrown kamikaze drones. This means India can fight a sustained war without depending on foreign suppliers who might refuse to send spare parts or ammunition during a crisis. The presence of some imported systems like Apache helicopters alongside Indian equipment shows a practical approach that uses the best available technology while building our own industrial base. When Western Command leadership validated that Kharga Corp can launch high-speed armored attacks across rivers, forests and cities in all kinds of combat conditions, it was more than just approval, but confirmation that plans on paper have become battlefield reality. The exercise sends an unmistakable message that anyone planning aggression along our western border should understand the consequences have changed fundamentally. Any future attack will not be met with patient restraint, but with immediate, crushing force designed to inflict unacceptable damage before the aggressor can even fully mobilize. In an age where actions speak louder than words, where military strength must be demonstrated, not just claimed, the Indian Army chose to show rather than tell. It displayed an offensive capability.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Thank you for joining us here on Republic TV, ladies and gentlemen. Starting 2 p.m. with some breaking news coming in from America. There have been a series of attacks in the last few days in America, and US lawmakers have written a letter. I'm going across straight to the breaking news coming in of a group of US lawmakers who've now written to US Secretary of State Marco Rubio expressing concern over Pakistan's escalating campaign of transnational repression, human rights abuses, militarization under Shehbaz Sharif and Asim Munir. The US lawmakers in their letter have highlighted threats, retaliation against US-based journalists and activists, suppression of political opposition, and erosion of democratic institutions in Pakistan. US lawmakers urging the Trump administration to impose sanctions, including visa bans and asset freezes, and seek detailed answers on US policy actions regarding Pakistan's human rights situation. This is a very, very serious charge, and they have written in their letter that there are rising transnational repression under Pakistan administration, specifically targeting US citizens and residents who criticize Pakistani military, worsening human rights crisis under Shehbaz Sharif and Army Chief Asim Munir, violation of freedom of expression in international law, opposition leaders being held without charge, denied fair trials, journalists abducted, silenced or forced into exile. Major Samar Paltur joining us on the story right now. Major Tur, it was about time, but it appears that in this particular letter, they are specifically mentioning about perhaps a reference to Imran Khan, and also what's been happening within Pakistan to anybody who dare criticize Asim Munir.
Well, Niranjan, if you see, last week there was a statement by Jeremy Lawrence, who's the UN human rights spokesperson. And he has very categorically said that, there is a grave concern for the military accountability in Pakistan. Because everybody knows it's been changing the rules. It's dominating the law as per its whims and fancies. And it's, subjugating the judiciary. And there is a lot of interference by the military, which leaves the Pakistan citizen without any, democratic rights. And when you get to change the rule of the law as per your own, wish and will, then I do not think that the world is a fool. World has taken cognizance of the situation and the seriousness of the fact that, you have actually meddled in the term of a sitting Prime Minister, Imran Khan, and you have now literally jailed him. And there has been not a single term in Pakistan which has gone without such an act of imprisonment of their prime ministers, former prime ministers. And so, keeping this in mind, I think, and the inflation rates, the unaffordability of basic food items for the people of Pakistan, with the fuel prices going very high, with milk almost touching 600-700 rupees a litre. So it is a time to reckon with, and UN has taken a timely call. Now it all depends on how they are going to react. I strongly feel sanctions should be put in place, similar to what had been put on Syria and in Iraq against Pakistan, so as to stop this military regime from, violating the human rights, which they've already done with the Balochistan people. They have already decimated one generation of the newborn kids in Balochistan. The same now they are doing in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa by bombing these villages in the name of anti-terror operations and killing dozens of children and women. So I think this mayhem and nonsense has to be called out, which I'm very glad it has been done so. And it is time that the world puts a stop on all these, the mockery of democracy has to stop in Pakistan right away. Niranjan.
Yes, this is significant. This is perhaps the first time that US lawmakers, in the recent past at least, given Donald Trump's proximity to Asim Munir, and he speaks about Asim Munir and Shehbaz Sharif highly. We will have to wait and watch the Major Tour on the implication of this and whether they will entertain, given the kind of ties that Donald Trump enjoys with the Pakistan current establishment.
Niranjan, the Congress has taken cognizance of President Trump's statements, especially when he's given a biased rhetoric and narrative for Asim Munir, saying that he's his favorite field marshal, and how can he tolerate a military general accompanying a prime minister every time? I mean, he looks more of a ADC to the Prime Minister of Pakistan than a respected general in his own country. So he's a laughing stock. So I'm sure that the opposition in the US has taken notice of this, and I am sure that they will stop President Trump from dealing in Pakistan in any manner, because in the end of the day, let us not forget that this is the same nation which has the blood of American soldiers, NATO soldiers, and other European countries' soldiers on its hands by double playing their, intelligence agencies against the Americans. So Pakistan is actually responsible for the ousting of Americans from Afghanistan. Their dirty game, their sly tactics, and, they cannot be relied upon anymore. And that is one of the major reasons why the snakes in its backyard are now, biting it. And this venom is only going to spread. It's not going to stop. And it's already begun, because you've already had a suicide attack by a lady, Fidain, yesterday by the BLA against the Pakistan forces. So you can very well imagine how frustrated the people of Balochistan are already in terms of facing a discrimination by this Pakistan government.
Okay. Now, what is extremely interesting here is that I have three interesting names. Ishan is joining us live. There is Ro Khanna, member of Congress of Indian origin. There is also Suhas Subramaniam of Indian origin, member of Congress. We also have Raja Krishnamurthy, member of Congress, Indian origin. And very interestingly, Ilan Umar, member of Congress, also asking for sanctions on Pakistan. Very interesting. Ishan, if you can take us through the full letter and take us through the implications of such a letter, the process involved now that it's been ratified by the Congress. I see the letter with the signatures of 44 congressmen. What happens next?
The letter that has been sent to the State Department of the United States government clearly emphasizes the transnational repression that is being done by the Pakistani government. Now, this involves Pakistani military-backed government targeting critics abroad, including U.S. citizens and residents, diaspora, journalists, activists face threats, intimidation, harassment, extending to their families in Pakistan. This is what the United States believes to be a direct attack on the United States itself. And the Congress has taken cognizance of the same. And there are these sanctions that can be put in place that are known as the Grey Sky Sanctions regime. These sanctions extend to freezing of assets, imposing of tariffs, and most importantly, restriction of trade and visas. The senators and Congress members have demanded that hearings be held on this, and once the hearings start, this may lead to U.S. policy changes towards Pakistan in general. The families of US-based journalists like Ahmed Noorani have been directly targeted, and this was one of the impending reasons why this particular letter was signed by so many Congress members and sent to the State Department.
Thank you for that. I'll have to interrupt you there. I'm getting in some breaking news of some more action against Maoists. There's been another major success in another operation. The next bit of breaking news coming in. There's been a big success achieved by our forces in an encounter that took place in the Bijapur-Dantewada border. 18 Maoists have been killed, including a PLGA commander. This is an encounter that took place between security forces and Maoists between the border of Bijapur and Dantewada. The Jawans have neutralized a total of 18 Maoists. It is a big operation. 18 Maoists have been neutralized, including a PLGA commander who's been identified as Modi Yami Vella, alias Vella, carrying a reward as well. A large cache of arms and ammunition have been recovered from the encounter site. Weapons including LMG, AK-47, SLR being recovered. And during the search operation, security forces have also recovered sophisticated weapons from the scene, including an LMG or a light machine gun, AK-47, SLR, Insas rifle, indicating that Maoists were planning perhaps a major attack, another major attack. 3 Jawans have also been martyred in this incident. 18 Maoists killed and 3 of our Jawans martyred. This took place during an anti-Maoist operation that started yesterday. Head Constable Monu, alias also known as Mohan Baddi, Constable Dukaru Gonde, Jawan Ramesh Sodhi, the 3 Jawans who were martyred in this operation. Ladies and gentlemen, there's complete chaos across India since this morning, and in the last 24 hours alone, over 250 flights have been cancelled across several airports in India. All major airports in India are facing disruptions, and these airports include Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Pune, Bhopal, Thiruvananthapuram, and across India there have been videos that are coming in that show passengers and lakhs of passengers who've been directly impacted. 250 flights and over 1 lakh passengers directly impacted. Many of them, in fact, are still stuck inside these airports and are sending us videos. One such passenger sent us a video from inside a plane as he was just boarding. His name is Yogesh. Yogesh sent us this video a few minutes back.
इंडिगो कुछ प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है। इंडिगो आने का पहले अब 10 बार देके जो है ना 3 घंटा 4 घंटा लेट हो रहा है। सब इंडिगो फ्लाइट है। आप पहले देख के बाद में आइए। इंडिगो फ्लाइट बहुत लेट हो रहा है। एक्चुअली इंडिगो कुछ प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है। इंडिगो आने का पहले अब 10 बार देके जो है ना 3 घंटा 4 घंटा लेट हो रहा है। सब इंडिगो फ्लाइट हैं। आप पहले देख के बाद में आइए, इंडिगो फ्लाइट बहुत लेट हो रहा है। एक्चुअली इंडिगो कुछ प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है। इंडिगो आने का पहले आप 10 बार देखे, जो है ना 3 घंटा 4 घंटा लेट हो रहा है। सब इंडिगो फ्लाइट हैं। आप पहले देख के बाद में आइए, इंडिगो फ्लाइट बहुत लेट हो रहा है।
Meeting a few minutes back, and in that meeting, IndiGo was asked questions on what was going on and some of the excuses that IndiGo gave to the government. Let me go across to Rakshita joining us, because Rakshita, we've heard that the explanation that IndiGo tried to give to the DGCA was that there was a compounding effect of FTL norms, which is a flight time limitation, crew shortage, weather, tech glitch. Now, all of these excuses were given, but nothing justifies what is happening at any of these airports. Even pilot bodies are coming out and calling it an arm-twisting tactic by IndiGo.
Absolutely. That is, of course, a great cause of concern, that who has really allowed this to happen, if at all this has happened. How did IndiGo get so much of leeway? Now, yes, as we were just speaking to the president of the Pilots Federation also, they clearly says, without mincing words, that it is arm twisting. It is, in fact, he goes on to say that this is an artificially created crisis that is actually criminal, as he said. If at all that is true, then this needs to be probed, investigated, and there should be consequences also, so that no other airlines can ever do this. We've seen the chaos that it has completely wreaked havoc in the several airports, as we are getting multiple accounts from the passengers also, Niranjan. Talking about the norms, well, what we understand is that with the meeting that has been going on, DGCA says that it tells IndiGo officials that you've been given at least 6 months, and this has been in the works for the longest time. And why is only your airline that is affected by this? Why is it only IndiGo flights that are being cancelled and not the others? That is, of course, the question. Even when they go on to give some reasons, supplementing their own reasons / excuses for what's happening, they talk about weather. They say weather is the same for every other flight, every other airline. And talking about the rules, well, you have been given time and you have been lax in that. You have not actually, managed your rosters. You have not managed the crew. And that is the prerogative, that is the duty of the airline to, in fact, manage the crew. That is not on the aviation watchdog. That is what now the Pilot Federation is saying, that it is a method to just arm twist the aviation the authority, so as to roll back this entire policy, which of course affects their own finances as well. And there could be some truth, and if at all there is any truth in that, then it becomes a matter of deeper investigation, because it's ultimately the common man who is bearing the brunt of it. We are getting visuals from different locations, Pune to Hyderabad to Bengaluru to Jammu, and of course in Delhi as well, and in Thiruvananthapuram. These are passengers who are spending their hard-earned money for these flights of IndiGo. That IndiGo is a flight that always had somewhere talked about and endorsed itself as one of the most punctual and the fastest airline in the country, and it has been the leading commercial carriers. Now it has cited that there has been a dip in its on-time record. Now that it has attributed to these norms, and the question of course remains that why the same has not happened with the other airlines, but why is it a problem only with IndiGo? That is the big point that is being investigated now. The DGCA clearly is questioning the IndiGo on that.
Okay, stay with me because I also have reporters joining us from different airports right now. We have Gursimran from Jammu Airport. Shankar is joining us live from Thiruvananthapuram Airport. Aishwarya is joining us live from Hyderabad Airport. Let me go across first up to Hyderabad, one of the affected airports. Aishwarya, what's the situation now? Let's try and show the situation there. How many flights have been cancelled? How many passengers stuck?
for now, what we are learning is that more than 30 arrivals and departures have been cancelled, and many of them are also rescheduled. When we are speaking to the passengers here, they are also saying that they have not gotten any intimation, and that is what has led to the chaos. As you can see here, they are all standing in the queue waiting for answers. The passengers was waiting here since morning, and few of them were here even from the night, waited overnight because the flight that was about to take off last night was cancelled. So there are different stories. Some of them were actually have boarding passes also with them, but still they were not able to take the flight because apparently they were informed that it's due to some technical glitches, and because of technical glitches the flight could not take off. But there are several passengers here asking for answers from the IndiGo, but what they are saying is that the staff here, the helping staff here, is as clueless as them, and they don't have answers. They don't have clear answers to give to them. They are waiting since morning, some of them since yesterday night. So, but we can see that there's more chaos inside the gates as well, and few of them who have arrived now or who are waiting have come outside, have been even escorted outside as their flights have been rescheduled.
Yes.
So what they're saying is that if they would have given prior intimation, then they would have not been hit at their pocket. That is what the passengers here are complaining.
Okay. Thank you for that. Stay with me. Let's go across to another bit of breaking news coming in. In Pune, even Air India flights were hit. And Air India has issued a statement. So we're getting you that breaking news update right now. Air India issues a statement. And Air India in its statement has said that our morning Delhi to Pune flight landed on schedule at 6:55 hours. However, there was no parking bay available at the Pune airport at the time of arrival. The airport has a total of 10 bays, of which all are currently occupied by aircraft of another airline on the ground due to technical reasons or experiencing delays. This congestion resulted in a delay to our Pune-Indore flight. We regret the inconvenience to our guests and are working with the airport operator and ATC to migrate the situation. So this is Air India basically blaming IndiGo. That was a situation that we noticed even in Mumbai. Several IndiGo flights cancelled. In fact, at last count, it was over 80. Meenakshi is joining us from Mumbai with an update on both Mumbai and Pune. Quick update, Meenakshi, Mumbai and Pune, what's going on?
From IndiGo, both departure and arrival, both flight has been cancelled from IndiGo Airlines. And now we are getting information that inside video of Mumbai airport goes viral, as we can see that Ahmedabad bound flight has been cancelled, and their passengers has not informed also. We can see here the situation of Mumbai airport now, as you can see.
Okay, so that's the situation there, and I've just lost the audio with Meenakshi, but once again, the breaking statement from Air India on the situation in Pune, they are blaming IndiGo, saying that when our plane landed, the plane didn't even get a bay. They're blaming IndiGo, saying that the airport, out of 10 bays, all 10 were occupied by the aircraft of another airline, mentioning IndiGo, perhaps, of course, on ground due to technical reasons or experiencing delays. Congestion resulted in a delay to our Pune to Indore flight. So there is also the blame game ongoing on the side. Air India saying that the congestion was resulted in a delay for their flight as well from Pune, departing from Pune, while regretting the inconvenience to their guests and working with the airport operator and ATC to mitigate the situation. So that was the latest update that came in from Pune. Then we go across also to Thiruvananthapuram. In Thiruvananthapuram, saw some videos that came in earlier. What is the situation? How many flights cancelled or delayed or affected from Thiruvananthapuram? Shankar is joining us live from Thiruvananthapuram.
the growing crisis of IndiGo has stranded almost hundreds of passengers across Kerala in the 3 airports. We are standing right inside the Tiruvananthapuram International Airport. Here, as many as 10 IndiGo flights are getting delayed. And yesterday, National Day was celebrated here. Celebrities and higher officials from across the nation reached here, and they are stranded and without knowing when they would be able to fly. They all went back to their respective hotel rooms. And the worrying part is that the passengers the complaint that the IndiGo has not even said anything about their accommodation, their expenses for food and other difficulties, because people from various parts of Kerala reached here for flying to various places, and the pilgrims who reached here to visit Sabarimala and the Padmanabha Swami temple and all the other places, they are also stranded here. They are still in various hotel rooms. They all went back after reaching the airport, coming to know that the flights are getting delayed. In Tiruvananthapuram, in Cochin International Airport, over 10 flights are getting delayed, and over a dozen flights have been cancelled. Even the situation is similar in Kannur International Airport as well. Now the airport, the IndiGo staff are claiming that they are clueless on what is happening, and they are answerable. They are unable to answer our questions, asking about the possible time of resuming the flights and all. Now we are standing right in front of the airport. We can see from the visuals that the airport wore an empty look. The airport is always crowded, but here today, because of the cancellations and delays, people the airport wore an empty look.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll take a short break at this point of time. Shankar, reporter joining us from different airports across India. Those are pictures that came in from Bengaluru, one of the worst affected. Pune also hit. Clashes also broke out at several airports. We had videos being sent by some of the passengers who are stranded at these airports. We'll play that out in just a bit. Stay tuned.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध, MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आरती मसाला।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, delicious, healthy, every day.
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do on the battlefield. What happened in the deserts and plains under Kharga Corp was not just another military exercise, but a carefully planned signal about capability and intent along our border with Pakistan. The numbers tell part of the story, with over 20,000 soldiers organized into battle groups that can fight independently, suggesting that the army is moving away from old defensive tactics toward a more aggressive approach that can strike on multiple fronts at once. This is not the army that waits behind borders anymore, but one that is ready to take the fight into enemy territory if provoked. The scenario itself, a cross-border offensive in response to a Pakistani attack, makes clear that India is no longer content with merely defending.
Let's begin this live and breaking with a breaking news development, in fact, coming in from Pune in connection with the Pune land scam. Remember, Parth Pawar has connections and is being investigated. One of the partners of Parth Pawar, Digvijay Patil, now has been summoned by a committee set up by the state government, which is investigating the Pune land scam. Parth Pawar's business partner, in fact, has been issued summons. His name is Digvijay Patil. We'll soon connect with our correspondent for more details on this. Remember, Ajit Pawar had to make a lot of explanations as to how Parth Pawar has benefited, or according to Ajit Pawar, not benefited with this land scam. Meenakshi, in fact, has confronted Ajit Pawar. These are pictures from earlier, in fact, when Ajit Pawar was confronted with questions both by our correspondent Meenakshi and Satyaprakash. We'll have Meenakshi joining us over the phone in a bit. We in fact have Meenakshi joining us over the phone. Alright, she's live, in fact. Meenakshi, you have the investigation committee. I believe it's the government set up committee which has summoned Digvijay Patil. What is expected of this questioning, and when is the summon? Like, when is Digvijay Patil supposed to appear before the committee?
The committee which is probing this Pune land scam, this committee has summoned Digvijay Patil. Who is Digvijay Patil? Digvijay Patil is the business partner of Parth Pawar, who has only 1% of share of Amity Enterprise, has been summoned by this committee, and he need to appear before this committee on 5th December. It means that tomorrow he needs to appear before committee. Now the question is that where we can already know that the police has registered FIR against that Digvijay Patil and Sheetal Tejwani. And Sheetal Tejwani has been arrested yesterday afternoon by EOW of Pune Police. Now the question is that only 1% of share which is in hand of Digvijay Patil is summoned by this committee, but nowhere the name of Parth Pawar. Even FIR has been not registered against Parth Pawar. The committee, we are not now getting information. The committee 2 times they extended their time. They are seeking time for before I think 1 month back. They seeking time for 10 days. They had to have to submit report. They said we will submit report after 10 days, and after that, after 10 days, they seek for time to submit the report on this investigation. So now the question is that where nowhere the name of Parth Pawar, and Digvijay Patil was summoned by this committee, and the question is that Digvijay Patil's signature is in this sale deed. So they maybe question Digvijay Patil that how he involved in this land scheme, how they purchased that land, because we know that land is no one can sell this land.
Yeah. Stay with us, Meenakshi. In fact, there is another breaking connected with the same story which we are getting, which is that based on the discussions held during the committee meeting and the proposal submitted to the Honorable Chairperson and Additional Commissioner seeking an extension for the committee, the government has granted approval. Considering this approval, the committee is hereby granted an extension, is what the order reads. Now, what this essentially means, Meenakshi, is that the investigation is going to go on. But the question is, as you were rightly mentioning, that the name of Parth Pawar is not there. The elder son of the Deputy Chief Minister, Ajit Pawar, he has been a little nonchalant about this. Do you get a sense that the Pune Economic Offences Wing of the Pune Police and this committee, they might be under some kind of pressure despite some moves having been made. Sheetal Tejwani arrested yesterday, but still, it's remaining clean of touching the Pawars.
You are absolutely right. They have that pressure also, and they are now ignoring media also. Media reporters asked the same question to Pune Police and EOW that what they are doing, because they have all evidence. That's why they arrested Sheetal Tejwani, and they said that they found a direct link in this Pune land scam of Sheetal Tejwani. That's why they arrested Sheetal Tejwani. But what about Digvijay Patil? He was not summoned by EOW of Pune Police also. And he was not questioned by EOW of Pune Police also. Why? He is the only business partner of Partha Pawar of Media Enterprise. But the noticeable thing is that he has only 1% of share. And you have been shocked that 99% of this Media Enterprise share is in Partha Pawar's hand.
Yeah.
So what they are hiding, what they are trying to hide.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Meenakshi. It's a scam worth about 1,800 crores is what reports suggest. 40 acres of land in Pune, that's under investigation. And those are pictures from earlier when Meenakshi questioned Deep Dada Pawar. And now we are getting another breaking news development, moving out of the Pune story, but moving to Mumbai Airport. Remember the chaos, the civil aviation mess that we are seeing coming out of most of our metros, Bengaluru, Pune, Lucknow, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad. And now latest pictures coming in from Mumbai Airport. And these new videos show passengers on the Ahmedabad-bound flight expressing their frustration with arguments with the airline staff at the gates. Now, these are pictures from across the country. But can we get the Mumbai pictures, which we are breaking now, the fresh pictures? And, okay, we'll get the Mumbai pictures in a bit. These are from inside the Mumbai airport, and chaos is happening everywhere now. These are the pictures from the gate of a flight to Ahmedabad from Mumbai, and the passengers are frustrated about the delay. Now, remember, across the country, more than 300 flights have been disrupted of various airlines, 135 plus of IndiGo alone. Meenakshi, coming back to you, you are in Mumbai. These disruptions are really creating chaos across the airports, but these latest pictures coming in from Mumbai airport, and the passengers angry at the staff, airline staff, for not giving them answers. We're just listening to the Nats and then coming back to you, Meenakshi. Okay. Okay, going back to Meenakshi because she's in Mumbai. Meenakshi, these latest pictures again showing a verbal altercation happening between passengers and the airline staff on the ground at the gate, in fact, Ahmedabad-bound flight. What are you hearing about these delays and this particular instance? How long was the delay which made the passengers really express their frustration and angst in this manner?
Yes, we are now in front of outside gate of Mumbai airport, and as you mentioned and as our viewers has seen also the video where the main gate, in this main gate, from this gate when entered to Mumbai airport terminal 2, this happened when the Ahmedabad bound flight has been delayed and no information given from IndiGo staff also to the passengers. And we have already spoken lots of passengers there, and they are saying there are many more flights delayed. And as we know, still now IndiGo has cancelled 80 flights at Mumbai airport as today, including both arrivals and departure also. And now we can see here the Mumbai terminals, especially at IndiGo counters, there has been a visible confusion and crowding. Many passengers remain stranded while seeking information, and they are not given alternative flight also. They are saying, many passengers are saying they are waiting for 16 hours. Can you imagine? 15 to 16 hours they are waiting. There is no information from IndiGo staff, and there was no assistance from IndiGo staff also. There was no accommodation, no food, only they have given to one bottle of water. So there is a total mess in Mumbai airport inside, and outside also passengers are saying they are not informed any delay, any cancellation from IndiGo Airlines also.
Right, absolutely. This is a clear sector-wide mess in the civil aviation, and much to do with the government policies, and that's the reason why, Meenakshi, let's go to New Delhi, where Rakshita is reporting live from outside the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and the DGCA met with IndiGo team, but clearly not satisfied is what we are getting to hear from the explanations given. Rakshita, coming to you, and is the meeting with between the DGCA and the IndiGo is still on, or is it over? And if it is over, what's the takeaway so far as these passengers are concerned? I mean, how do they really deal with this? Okay, these are pictures from earlier of
well, what we understand is that the DGCA is clear.
Reaching the DGCA. But Rakshita, coming to you, any solution in sight after this meeting?
Well, that is what we understand. The DGCA has asked for a time-bound solution to what has happened, because we see that how the common man, the passenger, is in a situation that is absolutely horrible. They are right now so desperate that they should be finding a solution. There needs to be a breakthrough, as now we know that even the other airlines are getting affected because of the IndiGo Airlines now occupying the major part of bay in different of these airports. Now DGCA has pulled up the IndiGo Airlines, saying that that it had enough time to adjust with the norms, to in fact make changes and modify the crew management, but they did not do so. The Pilots Association, speaking to Republic TV a while back, has made some huge claims, saying that this is an artificially created crisis so as to arm twist the authorities, and so that IndiGo can have their own way. Even not just that, the ALPA chief, the Pilots Association chief, says that airlines had reduced the number of reduced the pilot numbers due to commercial interests that treats aviation staffing like any other corporation sectors. Now DGCA says that this was in the works for 6 months, so there was ample time for IndiGo Airlines to in fact bring about a solution to this, but it did not. And why is it only that these norms have affected IndiGo Airlines, the largest private carrier? Why is it only IndiGo Airlines that is complaining about the norms that have led to this crisis? And we clearly see that the Pilots Association is openly blaming IndiGo. DGCA is also asking IndiGo for a solution and a time-bound solution, because IndiGo, speaking to Republic TV, said that they have nothing new to say except the fact that it's going to take at least 48 hours. That's also a long time, because this entire crisis has been unfolding for the past 24 hours, and now it's saying that it will take even more. It could take 48 hours for a resolution. So that's of course a very worrisome situation, Abhishek. Right now, as we understand that the ministry is trying to firefight the situation and bring about a solution as soon as possible. But yes, the fact that there has to be an accountability from the DGCA also, from the ministry also, that why IndiGo was allowed to do this. Why does it have the space to in fact arm twist the authorities, that it has been going on for such a long time. Where is the laxity? That there has to be some accountability, and the aviation sector is now hit by a fresh, fresh turbulence that we've seen all throughout the year. There has been turbulence in the aviation sector of the country.
Absolutely, and the mess is really playing out loud now. Rakshita, stay with us, even as we get more pictures of the IndiGo officials at the DGCA. These are pictures from a little earlier. They reached the DGCA office in New Delhi, but the meeting has gone on for long. Some reports have already come out of what exactly transpired in the meeting. And these are pictures when the IndiGo team went inside the DGCA office. Okay, let's go back to Rakshita for more, where she's at the Ministry of Civil Aviation. These are pictures from the DGCA. Rakshita, the IndiGo team is closeted with the DGCA, and they're trying to thrash out some solution. In a statement, we heard the IndiGo Airlines suggest that over the next 48 hours, they're going to sort out this mess of flight delays and cancellations. And they put the blame on a multitude of factors which apparently are not in their control. So they say that some because of weather, some because of tech glitch, some because of crew management issues, and some because of flight scheduling and flight time plans. Everything except for their own management part. You think the DGCA and IndiGo in this meeting are going to thrash out a way out and make sure that the passengers do not suffer more? It's been almost 1,000 flights over the last 3-4 days that have got affected, either cancelled or delayed, and delayed for hours and hours together.
Absolutely, because you have to understand that the flight conditions will be affected even more as the winter chill increases, and so does the fog condition continues to affect the flight operation. The fog, the smog, the visibility has just begun. It has just begun. Abhishek, it is going to get worse and worse from here all throughout December and January. We're going to see many such delays due to fog, and it happens every year. And this is the festive season. Remember, this is the holiday season. Christmas is coming up. The New Year's is coming up. People go for holidays, so there will be, of course, more and more bookings. So this is the peak, one of the peak seasons for any airline, and especially the largest private airline in the country, that is IndiGo. Now, to just put the blame on these issues that are not in control is something that DGCA is not buying. It says that that weather is something that is the same for all the airlines, and as far as crew management is concerned, it's completely the responsibility of the airline to manage their crew and not the authority. It is their laxity that has in fact led to this kind of situation.
Right, absolutely. Stay with us, Rakshita, as you get more details about this policy dialogue that seems to be happening between DGCA and IndiGo. We have more reports of disruptions and passenger frustrations coming out, this time now from Jammu. We have Gursimran joining us for more on this. Gursimran, how many flights delayed or cancelled at the Jammu airport, and how many passengers are really affected there from where you're reporting?
See, Abhishek, we are reporting from the Jammu airport, and here IndiGo is one of the key operators because they operate most of the flights. Roughly 60 to 75% of the operations only lies with the IndiGo. Today they were operating 11 flights, out of which one has already been cancelled, while out of remaining 10, 8 flights have been delayed. So 80% of delay has been witnessed, and here you will see that except the counter of IndiGo, you will not find the people anywhere. Reason being that the people are coming from the different places. They want to know about the status of their flight. Many of the flights have been delayed earlier also, and what is happening that the people are now going to the other counters as well so that they can actually fetch some tickets from the other operators, because this situation is concerning. Though the IndiGo is offering them a rescheduling of these tickets for tomorrow, but they are not very sure that whether tomorrow the situation will not be same or the situation will be exactly the same like it has been today. Yesterday, since it was a half day at the Jammu airport due to the operational maintenance that they undergo every Wednesday, so there was no such crisis that was reported yesterday. yesterday. But today, the situation is altogether different. There is chaos that has been witnessed by the people here, the administration also, because the IndiGo authorities, they were with no other option but then to tell the people that it has to be rescheduled or is being delayed for the reasons best known to their administration. And here also you will see that there are a handful of people that are still there, those who have not got intimation over the mobile or have not got to know about this, about delay. Now the CISF is telling the IndiGo persons to put a list of all the flights that have been delayed so that there is no chaos. So CISF also trying their level best so that the people do not get inconvenience. There has been some call center numbers that have also been put up, 2 call center numbers that can be contacted for any cancellation and refund by the customers of the IndiGo. But since it is one of the biggest when it comes to the operations from the Jammu airport, the people are suffering a lot. The people do not know, because early this morning we spoke to a person who was going to Portugal. He told us that he has to rebook one of his international flights that actually cost him around 2.57 lakh in addition to 3 lakh cancellation that he has suffered of his flight that was previously booked. So this is the state of affairs that is happening due to this internal chaos that has happened in the IndiGo due to their internal rift that has been witnessed.
Okay, Sharda joins us live now from Chennai airport, and on the same story we are bringing to you the passenger chaos, the civil aviation mess that's panning out across the country. And Sharda, if I can, Sharda is joining us live. Sharda, what's the scene like in Chennai? How many flights disrupted? What's the situation insofar as passenger chaos is concerned? Have the airlines responded? Have the airlines communicated? How long before they can sort out this mess in Chennai?
Well, 26 flights in the IndiGo have been cancelled from the Chennai International Airport. Starting from yesterday evening, there have been multiple delays, especially for the IndiGo Airlines. And then multiple people was told that their flight would be delayed and postponed in the coming days. And we also have the IndiGo counter right at the Chennai Airport, which is now issuing refund to the people. I request my VJ to show the visuals of the IndiGo office that's been crowded with people right now. The flights that will be going even on the Friday, the coming Friday, has now been postponed to Saturday. Following this, multiple people are getting their refunds from IndiGo as they multiple flights, literally 26 flights have been cancelled from the Chennai International Airport, and multiple other delayed flights that would be pushed to the weekend is what the IndiGo officials have told the people who will be travelling from Chennai. This particular IndiGo office is now issuing refunds to the people whose flights have been cancelled, and the delay that's been causing from yesterday evening, multiple people were waiting for almost 18 hours in the airport till today afternoon until IndiGo announced that they would be refunding as the flights would not be taking off from Chennai.
Thank you so much, Sharda. With that update, we are bringing to our viewers a complete picture of what's really happening in the civil aviation sector through these airport pictures from across the country, from Ahmedabad to Bengaluru, from Bengaluru to Chennai, from Chennai to Hyderabad to Lucknow and Jammu. We, in fact, are also trying to understand what's really led to this situation, this chaotic situation. We have the president of the Federation of Indian Pilots, Captain C.S. Randhawa, joining us. In fact, the Pilots Association has really objected to the line taken by the airlines, putting the onus on crew schedules and crew management issues because it's their domain and they should be handling it properly. Mr. Randhawa, coming to you, what's your assessment? Is it shortage of pilots? Is it mismanagement of pilot schedules which has led to this situation? Because the tech glitch was supposed to be over by 30th of November, and subsequently we are seeing the problems have really compounded and snowballed.
You see what chaos has happened. They started building up last week slowly, but suddenly it has hit since last 2 days where the cancellations and delays are rampant and a lot of passengers have been put to inconvenience. I would say this all cannot be because of pilot shortage. Pilot shortage does not mean that 300 flights will be cancelled and so many flights will be delayed. The first reason for some cancellations could be due to shortage of captains. Now, IndiGo had approximately 50-60 aircraft, which Pratt & Whitney engines, which are having problems, which came back online. However, they have not been upgrading the first officers to captains. And at one stage, I still remember a few months back, where pilots were flying only 55 hours.
Yeah.
And in November, they had offered pilots to buy their leave because they wanted pilots to fly. There were not much takers to that. Now, aircraft have been inducted. The government has not been insisting to ensure that the airlines only get the aircraft once the pilots are there. Otherwise, they'll put the passengers to inconvenience.
Yeah.
Now, the second point is total mismanagement on the part of planning the pattern of operation of the particular aircraft and crew scheduling, because everything has to merge. Supposing a one-tail aircraft is doing 6 sectors. Now, in those 6 sectors, which are the crew which are going to operate?
Yeah.
So the crew scheduling is equally responsible, and so is the planning of the aircraft movement.
No, but I think this kind of inventory management, Mr. Randhawa, should be part of the plan. I mean, should be part of the good management practices. Why
Absolutely
is it becoming an issue?
Absolutely right that this should be a good practice and not coming from the biggest airline in the country. The whole country is in a chaos at present. Now, this is what happens when there is total dependence on 1 or 2 airlines in the country. This has been insisting since long that this country needs at least 3 to 4 good airlines so that they compete with each other and the passengers are not put to such inconvenience. Now, on the contrary, you know that an airline which is ruling the skies is IndiGo. At one time, they had an on-time performance of more than 90%, and now they're back to 30%. One of the worst OTPs. Everything to it now, whatever chaos you're showing me on the TV from different places, it is very, very evident. It is not only the crew shortage.
Right.
Thirdly, on every flight, they are supposed to have standby crew. It is as per the FDTL CR. Every airline, supposing you operate one flight XYZ from Delhi to Mumbai, it must have captain, co-pilot, and you must have captain, co-pilot as a standby crew. They do not have.
Yeah.
Why the DGCA has kept quiet? Why they haven't done the oversight and pulled up the airline?
Right.
Okay, then the schedule. The next point I'll come to is when the schedules are approved by the DGCA. How can DGCA approve a schedule when you don't even have the number of crews?
Right,
See
Mr.
the amount
Randhawa.
of problems which have
it's about. I think it's about a collapse of good management practices. It's about the airlines putting the onus on DGCA or the Civil Aviation Ministry because of its policy failure of not finding an answer to the duopoly, putting the onus on the airlines. Ultimately, the passengers are suffering, and we'll keep bringing to you those details so that everyone in authority is aware of what's happening on the ground. We slip in a short break. Coming up on the other side, the same story, more detailed coverage of civil aviation caps.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला।
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do on the battlefield. What happened in the deserts and plains under Kharga Corp was not just another military exercise, but a carefully planned signal about capability and intent along our border with Pakistan. The numbers tell part of the story, with over 20,000.
MDH की देगी मीरज,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मीरज।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाह मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Over 1,000 IndiGo flights disrupted and cancelled across the country and the airports today, and the disruptions continue across multiple cities. Air India issues statement on flight delays, blames IndiGo for parking their flights on Pune airport tarmac for hours. DGCA rejects the explanation given by IndiGo, says that they need time-bound intervention and solution. A fight between Pilots Association and IndiGo management. Pilots body says disruption due to IndiGo's lean manpower strategy. US lawmakers write to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, concerned over Pakistan's escalating campaign of transnational repression and human rights abuse under Pak PM Shehbaz Sharif. Major success in Bijapur-Dantewada border encounter, 18 Maoists killed. Russian President Vladimir Putin to arrive in India at 6:30 p.m. today to meet Prime Minister Modi later in the evening. Okay, we are beginning this with a breaking news development coming in from Kerala, where a Kerala court has dismissed the bail plea of Rahul Mama, the Congress MLA who faces sexual exploitation allegations, not one but two, and the court dismissing his plea for bail on the grounds that the charges are serious, on the grounds that the accused is in a position to influence the investigation and possibly intimidate the victims. We are going to have Sankar joining us live from Thiruvananthapuram on this story. These are pictures after Kerala police arrested one more person over the Rahul Mamakuthathil case. And earlier we had Rahul Ishwar getting arrested for revealing the identity of a woman who raised harassment complaint against Congress MLA Rahul Mamakuthathil. Now, of course, the Congress MLA has been in custody and his bail been rejected now. Shankar is live with us now on the same story. Shankar, what arguments the court accept for denying the bail of the Congress leader, Congress MLA?
Okay, actually, after hours of arguments and counter arguments on Wednesday and Thursday, the district section court Judge Nasira took a decision, ordered not to grant anticipatory bail to Rahul Mankutathil MLA, the Congress MLA who is facing sexual exploitation allegation from a woman. After the woman came up with a complaint, a number of other women also came up with similar complaints. Even today morning, a Congress party member who is a woman, M.A. Shahanas, who is a General Secretary of Samskara Sahidi, and a group affiliated to the Congress party, she also raised a similar sexual harassment complaint against Rahul Mankutathil. The court considered that such an act insulting the modesty of a woman should not have occurred from the side of a people representative, and there are ample evidence to prove that Rahul Mankutathil MLA forced that victim, the victim, for abortion, and also the prosecution presented a number of evidence to prove that the woman got conceived as per the direction of the MLA, and later all of a sudden he changed his mind. And when the woman was disclosing to MLA that she was pregnant and she faces a whole lot of physical difficulties, the MLA was behaving very rudely with that woman, and these all evidence remain crucial in disposing the pre-arrest bail application filed by Rahul Mankutathil MLA, and the court accepted the prosecution plea that granting the MLA bail may affect negatively the further proceedings of the case, as he is highly influential and he has big money and manpower to influence the witnesses and even the victim in this case. So considering the smooth conduction of the probe, the court rejected the pre-arrest bail application filed by the MLA. In the meantime, the probe team has intensified search for him across Kerala and even in Kerala and Tamil Nadu border. He is still absconding now, and it is almost certain that the probe team will go to any extent to get him nabbed at the earliest as possible.
All right, that's the latest in the Kerala Congress MLA case. Moving on for now, and from Kerala to Chhattisgarh, where forces have achieved major success in the Bijapur-Dantewada border area during their anti-Maoist operations by eliminating 18 of them, neutralized, including those from the PLGA. In fact, one commander of the People's Liberation Guerrilla Army has also been neutralized among those 18 Maoists. A large cache of arms, weapons and ammunition have been recovered from the encounter site. Cleaning up operations are going on. These are pictures from earlier. But Bijapur, remember, is the hub of Maoists in the region. And the entire corridor from Andhra Pradesh to Chhattisgarh there, including some parts of Maharashtra, Gadchiroli, and Operation Cleanup going on effectively now with the deadline of March 2026 put up by the Home Ministry and the Home Minister to eliminate or make India completely Maoist Naxal free. We have Bharat joining us live from Bijapur, in fact, for the latest. Bharat, what's the latest in terms of this encounter? ये जो एनकाउंटर हुआ है उसके बारे में जरा बताएं. ये 18 माओइस्ट मारे गए हैं. अभी लेटेस्ट परिस्थिति वहां बीजापुर में क्या है?
देखिए वेस्ट बस्तर डिवीजन में जो है इलाका है, उस पूरे इलाके पे जो माओवादी हैं, बड़े कैडर के जो माओवादी बोल सकते हैं या फिर जो सक्रिय माओवादी कह सकते हैं, वो उस इलाके पे मौजूद थे, जिसकी सूचना पुलिस को मिलती है और पुलिस एक रणनीतिकार के तहत इस पे उस पूरे इलाके पे जो एक ऑपरेशन जो है वो लॉन्च करती है। इस ऑपरेशन में एसटीएफ, डीआरजी, कोबरा पुलिस, जो इनकी जो जॉइंट ऑपरेशन थी, जॉइंट ऑपरेशन उस पूरे इलाके पे निकलते हैं और उस ऑपरेशन पे पुलिस और माओवादियों के बीच में फायरिंग शुरू हो जाती है। फायरिंग लगातार फायरिंग चलती है, फायरिंग दिन भर फायरिंग चलती है, कुछ फायरिंग ऐसी भी होती है कि रुक रुक की फायरिंग चलती है। जो हालात वहां पे बन रहे थे उसको देखते हुए जो आंकड़े बाहर निकल के आ रहे थे, इससे बताया जा रहा था कि 6 माओवादियों को पुलिस के जवान ने ढेर कर दिया। उसके बाद आंकड़े में ये भी तब्दील हो गई कुछ घंटों के बाद कि एक जवान जो है डीआरजी का, वो शहीद भी हो गया है। जैसे जैसे दिन बीतते गए, दिन बीतने के पश्चात जो आंकड़े में बढ़ोतरी भी आती गई, आंकड़े में बढ़ोतरी होने के पश्चात आज सुबह की अगर बात की जाए तो आज 18 माओवादियों को पुलिस के जवानों ने ढेर किया और उनके शव को जिला मुख्यालय बीजापुर लाया गया है। वहीं अगर बात की जाए जिस इलाके पे जो मुठभेड़ हुआ, उस पूरे इलाके की भौगोलिक परिस्थितियों की अगर बात की जाए तो वो वेस्ट डिवीजन का जो पूरा इलाका कहा जाता है, वो पूरा इलाका एक तरफ से कहा जाए तो उस इलाके पे जिन माओवादियों की जब मौजूदगी थी, उसमें बताया ये भी जा रहा था, जो कवायद लगाई जा रही थी, जो जानकारी जो बाहर निकल के आ रही थी, पापाराव जो है उसकी मौजूदगी भी उस इलाके पे थी, ऐसी कही जा रही है। लेकिन उसमें एक नक्सली ऐसा भी है जिन माओवादियों को पुलिस के जवानों ने ढेर किया, उसमें से एक नक्सली ऐसा है जिसका जिक्र हमेशा सुर्खियों पे रहा है, मुड़ियामी वेल्ला वही माओवादी है जो डिवीजन कमेटी मेंबर यानी डीवीसीएम के पद पे वो काबिज था, गंगालूर एरिया में काफी सक्रिय था, काफी सक्रिय उसकी भूमिका भी रही है। बहुत से घटनाओं पे वो उसका नाम हमेशा आया करता था। जन अदालत की अगर बात की जाए या फिर पे किसी को अगर मौत के घाट उतारना है तो इसका नाम हमेशा जिक्र हुआ करता था। ऐसे में बिल्कुल माओवादियों को भी पुलिस के जवानों ने ढेर किया, तो एक बड़ी सफलता देखी जाए।
बड़ी सफलता बिल्कुल है ये हमारी सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस के लिए, सुरक्षा एजेंसीज के लिए, और माओइज्म को जिस तरह से ख़त्म किया जा रहा है ये उसका एक और नमूना है। थैंक यू, बट वी आर कमिंग आउट नाउ एंड मूविंग ऑन टू रशिया इंडिया बिजनेस फोरम दैट्स गोइंग ऑन इन न्यू दिल्ली, एंड इन फैक्ट कॉमर्स मिनिस्टर पीयूष गोयल इज स्पीकिंग. लेट्स कम टू दैट.
He said, and I quote, on hearing the word Russia, the first word that comes to the mind of every Indian is India's Sukh Dukh Ka Sathi. That part is in Hindi. India's Sukh Dukh Ka Sathi. And it translates to a companion, a friend in good times and bad times. A companion in happiness and a companion in sorrow. And Excellency, I can assure you, you can go to any part of India and you will hear the same bond of friendship between Russia and India. Of course, as was said earlier in the video, our film industry has also strengthened that bond. Right from the days of Mera Naam Joker and Raj Kapoor going to Russia with this film. A film which didn't do very well in India originally. But it's after the Russians started liking it, we all recognized that to be a very beautiful film. A personal favorite, if I may add. And the Prime Minister further went on to say, no matter how low the temperature dips below minus during the Russian winter, the India-Russia friendship will always remain full of warmth. And I think that is what we can see in this room today. Friends, a decade ago, in 2014, during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first summit meeting with His Excellency President Vladimir Putin, we aimed for a $30 billion bilateral trade, as His Excellency just mentioned, by 2025. We are twice that already. Of course, you very rightly pointed out that it's very skewed and needs to be more balanced. We need to bring more diversity in our trade basket. We need to make it more balanced inter, say, Russia and India. We need to add more variety. And there's so much to offer between both countries. There's so much that we believe we can take from Russia, there's such a large variety of offerings that 1.4 billion Indians from India have to offer to Russia, that the sky is the limit. And I think if we all work together, particularly our business community takes a leap of faith, I am very sure this untapped potential can be explored. The partnership will flourish. We'll address the trade imbalance in the near future, and we'll work collectively to eliminate, reduce, dilute the trade barriers, if any. We'll work to create the right conditions to open opportunities for business persons on both sides. And therefore, the theme of today's business forum, sell to Russia, and within that, balanced growth, shared growth, I think is extremely opportune, comes at a moment of time when it is very relevant. Russia has a huge demand for a wide range of industrial goods, consumer products, presenting multiple untapped opportunities for Indian businesses. Many sectors with a strong potential would include, as you were mentioning, the automobile sector, whether it's cars, tractors, heavy commercial vehicles, electronics, smartphones, data processing equipment, heavy machinery, industrial components, textiles, food products, and many more. Friends, entrepreneurship runs deep in India's DNA. As we have developed our startup ecosystem to become the third largest in the world, propelling innovation across deep tech, agri-tech, fintech, defense, semiconductors, space, opportunities galore, which makes India a destination of choice, a provider of substance. I'm sure even investors looking for high value returns would find a lot of opportunities in India. Also a demographic dividend, the young, hardworking, talented, skilled men and women can fill Russia's large 3 million talent shortfall that I'm told exists. And I can assure you, our young people are not only very hardworking, they will not complain that it's Friday evening or it's Saturday and we need to go off. Our young men and women are driven, willing to work 7 days a week if the requirement is there. Willing to really put in long hours, a lot of hard work, very committed, very, very conscious of their responsibilities, outcome oriented. After all, we produce the world's largest number of STEM graduates, 2.4 million STEM graduates coming out of our universities and colleges every year. I am sure these young men and women, the talent from India, can inject innovative design skills, analytics, research, and other capabilities which will enhance Russia's competitiveness in the world markets. In conclusion, I would like to quote a phrase by Rasul Gamzatov, a Russian poet, and I quote, "There are no distant lands for those who have a friend nearby. Mountains do not divide us. They only lift our gaze higher to see another. In the same spirit, it is often said, when you cross one mountain, you only find many more ranges ahead to conquer. We may have achieved $70 billion of bilateral trade, but we cannot rest. We need to grow that. We need to balance that. We need to have the shared prosperity of both regions in our focus. In fact, Raj Kapoor's famous film Avara, whose timeless songs touched hearts across Russia, I am told, in a way epitomizes that friendship between the two countries.
All right, that's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal talking about how India and Russia should be looking at diversifying their trade relationship and emphasized how it's important or an imperative that Russia import more goods and services and talent from India if the balance of trade situation is to be taken care of. Remember, this is just ahead of arrival of President Putin, who comes later in the evening. A huge entourage with him, 9 cabinet ministers and a big business delegation. There is a business summit planned tomorrow also at Bharat Mandapam, where both Prime Minister Modi and President Putin would make a joint appearance. Moving on for now and on to some other stories. And that's a big one. A narco-terror module busted by Jammu police. 3 automatic pistols and 5 kilograms of heroin recovered so far in this raid carried out by the agencies. And this consignment had come from Pakistani side in the Punjab region and then found its way to Jammu. From there it was tracked and the agency swooped down in a major operation and arrested or busted the module. The digital footprints show that these narco smugglers were in touch with their Pakistani handlers. 6 of them arrested. Gursimran joins us for more on this. Gursimran, what is the background of these 6 arrested? And while they were carrying these pistols and 5 kilograms of heroin, what was the destination? Was it meant for Jammu and Kashmir and to ruin the future of the youth of Jammu and Kashmir?
Yes, this narco-terror module that has been busted by the Jammu South Police, this was actually being operated from the Pakistan, from across the border handlers. They were actually operating this narco-terror module and using the drone. This consignment was dropped on the international border, Indo-Pakistan international border in Punjab, and soon after the dropping, it was taken to Jammu and Kashmir. It was further to be sold here, and then the proceed of narcotics that was to be used for the terror activities. Apart from this, 3 Glock pistols have also been recovered. This was based on multiple operations overnight. Multiple operations have been carried out by the Jammu South Police. Today, holding a press conference, SP Jammu South Ajay Sharma has shared the details that how they have busted this operation in a series of raids that they have conducted, because the recovery of around 6 kilogram of narcotics, 5 kilogram of narcotics, it was not done from a single consignment picker, but it was done from the different parts. So it was further split into different groups and was handed over to them. 3 Glock pistols have also been recovered that is also suspected to have been dropped using drones from across the border, and this entire module has been busted, and as we speak, the interrogation of all 6 accused is underway. Of these 6 accused, we are told that 2 were in touch with the Pakistan-based handlers, while rest 4, they were actually coordinating with these 2 key contact persons of the Pakistani handlers, and then the further plan was to sell this narcotics, this heroin, because it is 5 kilogram, and the international market worth is roughly around 25 crores. So this entire money was to be brought back and then to be used for funneling the terror activities in Jammu and Kashmir. But due to the timely intervention of the Jammu and Kashmir police, this entire module has been busted.
Right. Thank you, Gursimran, with those details. We move on for now and look at some other stories that are happening across the country in Bharat in 2 minutes. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his Russian counterpart Andrei Belousov will co-chair the 22nd India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Military Technical Cooperation ministerial meeting in New Delhi today. Later in the evening, the 2 leaders will review the entire range of multifaceted relations between the two countries in the field of defense during the same. They will also exchange views on contemporary, regional and global issues of mutual interest. Okay, we had to in fact take a short break, but coming up on the other side, overall civil aviation chaos, over 1,000 IndiGo and other airline flights disrupted and cancelled over the last 48 hours across airports. That's our focus.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do on the battlefield. What happened in the deserts and plains under Kharga Corp was not just...
From the hallowed chambers of the Supreme Court of India, the law roars louder, real, fearless, historic. The first Buddhist Chief Justice of India, former Chief Justice of India, Justice B.R. Gavai, unshaken in conviction. This weekend, on the legal side of things, only on Republic TV.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do on the battlefield. What happened in the deserts and plains under Kharga Corp was not just another military exercise, but a carefully planned signal about capability and intent along our border with Pakistan. The numbers tell part of the story, with over 20,000 soldiers organized into battle groups that can fight independently, suggesting that the army is moving away from old defensive tactics toward a more aggressive approach that can strike on multiple fronts at once. This is not the army that waits behind borders anymore, but one that is ready to take the fight into enemy territory if provoked. The scenario itself, a cross-border offensive in response to a Pakistani attack, makes clear that India is no longer content with merely...
Parliament now, people are openly speaking about jihad. Jamiat Ulema-e-Hind Chief Maulana Madni says jihad is significant not just for Muslims, but for the whole nation. He says jihad is important for India. They are constantly talking about jihad. Jihad has been misused by various groups that have been radicalized, terrorist groups, suicide bombings, religious terrorism. Can these people who are pushing for the use of the word jihad guarantee that this call will not be misinterpreted? Jaish, Lashkar, ISIS, Al-Qaeda all use the word jihad. This is a call for radicalization and for religious mobilization. And those who are advocating it know that terrorists have misused. Time has come for all right-thinking Indians to say we are not going to be a radicalized country. The only ism for this country should be nationalism. Jihad cannot be an ideology forced down our throat.
Over 1,000 IndiGo flights disrupted and cancelled today across airports as disruptions continue across multiple cities. Air India issues statement on flight delays, blames IndiGo for parking their flights on Pune airport tarmac for hours. DGCA rejects the explanation given by IndiGo, says they need time-bound intervention and solution. Fight between Pilots Association and IndiGo management. Pilots body says disruption due to IndiGo's lean manpower strategy. US lawmakers write to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, concerned over Pakistan's escalating campaign of transnational repression and human rights abuse under Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. Major success in Bijapur-Dantewada border area encounter, 18 Maoists killed. And Russian President Vladimir Putin set to arrive later in the evening to meet Prime Minister Modi at a private dinner at the 7 LKM residence.
Started this edition with some breaking news now coming in. This is with regards to the action that has been taken in the Delhi blast probe, where we are being told that chemical shops that have been located in Faridabad is now being raided by the National Investigation Agency. In fact, NIA's team has reached the Nehru ground in Faridabad, where they've sealed chemical shops. Multiple shops have been sealed by the National Investigation Agency. This after the investigation essentially revealed that terrorist Dr. Muzammil and Dr. Shahid had purchased chemicals that were basically used in the blast from these two shops, shop number B77 and B37. These are the two shops which have been now sealed by the National Investigation Agency. On your screens, these are the latest images coming in of the raid that was carried out by the National Investigation Agency, which basically indicates that there has been an intensification as far as the probe is concerned. So far, about 9 arrests have already taken place, and aides of mastermind have also been taken into custody by the National Investigation Agency. What they've also found so far is the fact that most of the chemicals which were basically used by the terrorist doctors and the module itself, it seems that they had basically procured from chemical shops like these, where you can see the raids are now being carried out. And this was not just located in Faridabad. We are given to understand that some procurement was also done from Saharanpur. Two places where all the explosive materials were basically being stored were houses that were being run by terrorist Dr. Muzammil as well as Umar, both of them who were basically using these two places in Faridabad for procurement and for the storage of the arms and ammunition. It turns out that the stocking of the arms and ammunition started about a few years ago, and it was done over a period of almost 4 years. That's what the investigation reveals so far. Part of the investigation that has been carried out first by the Jammu and Kashmir police and thereafter by Faridabad police and the National Investigation Agency along with Delhi police, now basically revealing the fact that they've been able to identify from where the arms and ammunition were being procured and how exactly it was basically being used. They've also been able to identify the vehicles that have been used for the transportation of the arms and ammunition. Getting us the latest details is my colleague Jatin. Jatin, ये बताइए कि कई सारे ऐसे केमिकल शॉप्स को आइडेंटिफाई किया गया था. नेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी ये मानती है सिर्फ फरीदाबाद में नहीं, पर कई और ऐसे जगह हैं जहां से प्रोक्योरमेंट किया जा रहा था.
बिल्कुल, देखिए आज जो जांच एजेंसियों द्वारा ये बड़ा कदम उठाया गया और ये फरीदाबाद में उठाया गया। एनआईटी में ये 2 दुकानें हैं जिससे जो जानकारी मिल रही है कि डॉक्टर मुजम्मिल और डॉक्टर शाहीन ने विस्फोटक बनाने में जिन केमिकल का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है वो केमिकल यहाँ से खरीदे थे। हाइड्रोजन जो केमिकल है वो यहाँ से खरीदा गया था और एक एमेटॉन करके केमिकल है वो इन दोनों दुकानों से खरीदा गया। जिसके बाद एनआईए जो कि इस पूरे मामले को इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रही है, उन्होंने लोकल एसडीएम और जो थाना के एसएचओ हैं उनको इस बारे में डिटेल शेयर की और आज एसडीएम के देखरेख में ये जो दोनों दुकानें हैं उसको सील किया गया और कार्रवाई की गई है। हालांकि प्रशासन ने, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने इस दुकान से जुड़े दस्तावेजों को भी खंगाला, उसमें भी काफी सारी खामियां पाई गई हैं। इन दोनों दुकानों के पास कोई लाइसेंस नहीं था इस तरीके के केमिकल्स को बेचने के लिए। हालांकि दोनों ही दुकानदारों से अब जो एजेंसीज है वो पूछताछ कर रही है। डॉक्टर मुजम्मिल और डॉक्टर शाहीन की तस्वीरों को भी इन दोनों दुकानों से कन्फ्रंट कराया जा रहा है ताकि आगे जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन है वो इस पूरे मामले में की जा सके। लेकिन जो एनआईए से जानकारी मिल रही है कि इन दोनों दुकानों से दिल्ली धमाके में जो विस्फोटक इस्तेमाल किया गया था उसको बनाने में जो केमिकल का इस्तेमाल किया गया वो इन्हीं दोनों दुकानों से खरीदा गया। जिसके बाद लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की मदद से इन दोनों दुकानों को सील किया गया और आगे जो कार्रवाई है वो संभवतः की जा रही है। लेकिन सबसे बड़ी बात, एनआईए इन्वेस्टिगेशन जिन जिन दुकानों की ओर जा रही है जहां से अमोनियम नाइट्रेट खरीदा गया वो दुकानें जो आइडेंटिफाई की जा रही है, एक प्रॉपर चेन, एक प्रॉपर सीक्वेंस इस पूरे मामले में जो जांच एजेंसी है वो तैयार कर रही है। और उसी कड़ी में इन 2 दुकानों तक एजेंसी पहुंची और तमाम सबूत मिले। शाहीन और मुजम्मिल से भी इन दोनों दुकानों के बारे में जो जानकारी है वो जुटाई गई। जिसके बाद आज ये कार्रवाई फरीदाबाद की एनआईटी मार्केट में की गई है जहां पर दोनों ही दुकानों को सील कर दिया गया है। दोनों ही दुकानों के जो मालिक है उनसे पूछताछ की जा रही है और अभी तक की जांच में और जो चीजें निकलकर सामने आ रही हैं बहुत क्लियर है कि जिस तरीके के केमिकल्स की ये लोग दोनों दुकानें डील कर रहे थे उसका प्रॉपर लाइसेंस इनके पास नहीं था। और मुजम्मिल और शाहीन जो कि केमिकल खरीदने यहाँ पर पहुंचे थे उनके बारे में पूछताछ की जा रही है। हमारी लोकल अथॉरिटी से बात हुई, उनका कहना है कि मुजम्मिल के बारे में जब इन दोनों दुकानदारों से पूछा जा रहा है तो वो ये तर्क दे रहे हैं कि सैकड़ों लोग आते हैं सामान खरीदने के लिए, हर किसी का चेहरा याद करना मुश्किल है। लेकिन उस दुकान में और आसपास के जितने भी सीसीटीवी कैमरे लगे हैं उसको एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने सीज किया है ताकि एक प्रॉपर सीक्वेंस और प्रॉपर सबूत इस पूरे मामले में तैयार किया जा सके। लेकिन अभी तक की डेवलपमेंट के हिसाब से बड़ी कार्रवाई जांच एजेंसियों द्वारा, जहां पर एसडीएम के देखरेख में ये दोनों दुकानें सील की गई हैं। मुजम्मिल और शाहीना ने विस्फोटक में इस्तेमाल होने वाला केमिकल यहां से खरीदा था, उसी बेसिस पर कार्रवाई की गई है और कोई लाइसेंस इनके पास से नहीं मिला है। तो जाहिर सी बात है इन दोनों से पूछताछ में और दूसरी दुकानों के बारे में जो जानकारी मिल रही है वहां पर भी आने वाले दिनों में कार्रवाई होती आपको नजर आएगी। जी,
Thank you very much, Jatin, for getting us the latest details. It turns out that the investigation in terms of identifying where exactly it has been produced and procured from will now be taken forward to other cities too. Shift focus now to a quick report now coming in. This is with regards to the joint exercise that is being carried out by India and France. The Air Force of both the countries are now carrying out a joint exercise, simulation exercises and several other exercises are now being carried out, both of the forces, with a single key point focus is about the camaraderie that exists between both the forces. Take a look at this quick report.
India and France marked the successful completion of their joint Air Force exercise, Garuda 25. This exercise entailed the air forces of both the countries engaging in joint training, thereby building a spirit of camaraderie. This exercise, a massive display of operational excellence, strengthened military ties between India and France.
Getting some breaking news right now. This is with regards to a fresh notice to airmen that has been issued by India, basically extending its area along the Bay of Bengal. In fact, we're given to understand that there is a possibility of a sea-based missile launch that's expected to take place. India has basically extended the NOTAM now to about 1,900 kilometers. It does appear at this stage that India is essentially preparing for a ballistic missile launch that's likely to take place. There have been cancellations in the past, but now we're being told that India has now extended the danger zone for the missile test, which basically expands to about 1,900 kilometers. Ishan, with regards to the change in the NOTAM, there is a clear indication that this could be a sea-based launch that can take place. Perhaps this is with regards to the ballistic missile launch that was essentially being planned earlier.
Absolutely. The initial NOTAM was issued for around 3,400 kilometers. Now that has been cancelled and a fresh NOTAM has been issued. This is in the region of the Visakhapatnam base. The Visakhapatnam base is home to our submarine fleet as well. So this could be indicative of the type of missile that is being tested, that it could be a submarine launched ballistic missile test. The K4 is being suspected due to the given outline of the NOTAM boundaries. The NOTAM has been issued for December 11th. It will be extended up to 1,900 kilometers, and it is a notable NOTAM because it is clearly based from the Visakhapatnam region straight outward and up to a height of around 40,000 feet. So this 40,000 feet is also indicative of the type of test that could be conducted. It could be a K4 missile test, which has the ability to maneuver in mid-air flight trajectory changes. And if this test is conducted, it would be a very significant boost to the Indian Armed Forces, as this submarine-launched ballistic missile is under development by DRDO for some time now.
Thank you very much, Ishan, for getting us the latest details. It seems that the launch is expected in the next couple of days, with an extension of the danger zone as far as this missile test is concerned has now just been increased. Let's shift focus now to a special story that we are getting to you. This is with regards to the current situation in Pakistan. In fact, there was a speculation that was essentially doing the rounds that whether at all the civilian government in Pakistan is trying to distance away from the final ratification of Field Marshal Asim Munir becoming the Chief of Defence Force. In fact, the notification is yet to be issued by the civilian government. It seems that Shehbaz Sharif had taken off to Bahrain and then to London, avoiding signing off on the notification, preventing Field Marshal Asim Munir becoming the Chief of Defence Force.
Partly, the Prime Minister, he had gone to Bahrain, and from there he pushed off to London. He's supposed to be in London for 3 or 4 days. I don't know whether he's come back or when he will come back. So he is deliberately staying out of this because he clearly doesn't want to issue the notification giving Asim Munir 5 years as Army Chief and as Chief of Defence Forces. Because his tenure finished yesterday. And as per the amendment, the 27th Amendment to the Constitution, there is now a Chief of Defence Force, and the term of the Army Chief will be coterminous with the CDF and runs for 5 years. But there has to be a notification. You see, I'll read out the provision of the Army Act, which was modified. Provided that for the first appointment of Chief of Army Staff, concurrently the Chief of Defence Forces, under Article 243 of the Constitution, the tenure under this section shall commence from the date of notification of the said office. Now, because there is no notification issued yet, so then the obvious question is that Munir would have retired yesterday. Now, some people feel that there is a controversy. This is very clear that, only from the date of notification can he continue as Army Chief and Chief of Defence Forces. But some people feel that the Army Act was also amended in 2004, under which the tenure of the Army Chief was for 5 years. So he's done 3 years, 22 to 25. He has another 2 years to go. So they feel that no new notification is actually required. Now, this is controversial. And we don't know which way or how the judiciary will look at it or how the government will look at it. But the fact of the matter is that this makes his position very tenuous. At the same time, there are reports that there are other generals in the general headquarters and within the top echelons of the army who are now jostling for position to become Army Chief or to become, there are 2 new posts of 4 stars that have been created. So all in all, this is a very messy state of affairs. And if the fact remains that he is no longer the Army Chief, then you have a situation where Pakistan doesn't have an Army Chief, and even the Nuclear Command Authority, which was supposed to be under a new post of Strategic Forces Command, that is also not there. So it's an extremely strange situation that Pakistan is under at the moment. You see, very smartly, the Prime Minister, he had gone to Bahrain, and from there, he pushed off to London. He's supposed to be in London for 3 or 4 days. I don't know whether he's come back or when he will come back. So he is deliberately staying out of this because he clearly doesn't want to issue the notification giving Asim Munir 5 years as Army Chief and as Chief of Defence Forces. So he thinks that by keeping away from Pakistan and not having to sign the notification, he can escape the consequences. But this situation can't continue. You can't have a nuclear-armed country without a Chief of the Army Staff or without somebody in charge of the Nuclear Command Authority. You see, the fact is that the civilian leadership is extremely weak to oppose Asim Munir and the military. So they are doing these tricks by the back door. If they were strong, they could have told him, sorry, we're not going to give you 5 years, we're not going to make you Chief of Defence Forces. But this was rammed through Parliament because of the pressure of the army to create this post of Chief of Defence Forces, which also is the head of the Air Force and the Navy. So it is because of the weakness of the civilian government. That's the reason why they are delaying it through backdoor tactics rather than being upfront. They clearly don't want to appoint or sign the notification for 5 years as CDF or in 5 years, another 5 years. He's already done 3 years. So by the time he finishes, he would have done 8 years. He could then even seek 5 years after that. Just to prove his utility and the fact that he must continue and the notification should be issued, he could provoke an incident. Even though legally, technically, he may not be Army Chief, but he could still provoke it. Who's to challenge him? So it's a very unsatisfactory situation. I would say even a very serious situation for Pakistan. Certainly, because you have an army and they're not sure whether he is the chief or not. And in case he gets it into his mind to provoke an incident with India, what happens then? So it's a dangerous situation.
Well, in fact, we're getting at the latest coming in from Gujarat, where the High Court, we are now being told, has received a bomb threat not very sure at this point in time in terms of the origin of the bomb threat. There has been security that has been increased outside the Gujarat High Court. We're getting in more details with regards to what's really happening on the ground. In fact, we've been told that the security has been increased and those who have been inside the High Court have been asked to move out. In fact, the bomb threat was received around 9 o'clock this morning, but it was only realized by the administration department around a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. The premises still remains operational is what we are being told, but the security has been increased in the area. Bomb squad as well as police teams are currently at this site carrying out necessary checks. We'll try and see if we can go across to our colleague in Ahmedabad, Swarali, on this story. Remember, 2 such bomb threats have been reported from across the country today. First, essentially coming in from Ahmedabad once again. This was an emergency landing that took place of an IndiGo flight that was, which was en route to Hyderabad. And now we are being told that there is a second such bomb threat coming in. This is to the Gujarat High Court. Swarali is joining us on this broadcast. What's the current situation like? Swarali, if you can hear me, what's the current situation like? Are you picking up in terms of the investigation that has been carried so far? What have they been able to track so far?
There is one more bomb threat. Our number per halma incoming calls.
We seem to have lost that line with Swarali. We'll try and go across to her in a short while from now. Just a quick recap of what we know so far. This is the second bomb threat which is now being reported from Ahmedabad. First coming in from an IndiGo flight which was en route to Hyderabad and made an emergency landing in Ahmedabad. This is the second bomb threat mail that has now been received. This has been received by the Gujarat High Court's Administrative Department. The bomb threat came in around 9 o'clock in the morning, but the Administrative Department only realized that such a mail was received only around 11 o'clock. So far, what we are being told is that the investigation is still underway. We do not know what's the source of this bomb threat and whether at all this is a hoax to begin with. Another breaking news now coming in, staying with Gujarat, where the ATS has busted a major espionage network. 2 people have been arrested so far. In fact, we're being told that the Gujarat ATS has spoken just a short while back, providing details of the Pakistani link that has basically emerged. Multiple arrests have been made from bordering states like Gujarat as well as Rajasthan in the last few months, particularly of these rackets that have been carried out. The accused, in fact, we are being told have leaked classified information, army information, to a handler based in Pakistan. We'll try and see if we can put out the first response coming in from the Gujarat ATS. On your screens right now, the accused who has been taken into the custody by Gujarat ATS. These are the details that we have at this point in time in terms of the investigation that has been carried out. Let's first listen in to what the Gujarat ATS had to say.
पाकिस्तानी इंटेलिजेंस ऑपरेटिव्स के संपर्क में देश विरुद्ध कार्यवाही करते हुए 2 आरोपी को एटीएस गुजरात ने गिरफ्तार किया गया है, जिसमें एक आरोपी का नाम है अजय कुमार सिंह और दूसरे का नाम है रश्मनी, जिसमें हम एटीएस गुजरात ने इन ऐसे देश विरोधी कामगिरी जो करते हैं उनके ऊपर हमने वॉच रखा है, जिसके अंदर एक टीम बनाया गया है जिसका नेतृत्व डीवाईएसपी हर्ष उपाध्याय के नेतृत्व में पीआई वीएन वाघेला, डीवी राठौड़, पीएसआई डीवी राठौड़, पीएसआई हेमंत नीनामा के टीम बनाया गया था, जिसके ऊपर इन्होंने काम किया गया था। इस इन्वेस्टिगेशन के दौरान हमको ये माहिती मिली है कि ये 2 जो एक्यूज हमने जो पकड़ा है, ये लोग देश विरोधी कार्यवाही कर रहे थे, जिसके अंदर हम तपास करते ये जानने को मिला है कि जो पहला आरोपी अजय कुमार सिंह जो है अभी हाल गोवा में रहता है, एक डिस्टिलरी में सिक्योरिटी ऑफिसर तरीके काम करते हैं, मूल निवासी बिहार का है, जो एक पाकिस्तानी ऑपरेटिव जिसका नाम अंकिता शर्मा नाम का एक एंटिटी के साथ व्हाट्सएप के ऊपर कांटेक्ट में आया था, जब ये 2022 में आया था, जब ये दिमापुर में आर्मी में सूबेदार के तरीके काम करता था। तब से लेके अभी तक ये कांटेक्ट में रहा था। कॉन्स्टेंटली आर्मी के अलग अलग मूवमेंट, आर्मी ऑफिसर्स के बदली, इनका जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन है ये अंकिता शर्मा के साथ ऑनलाइन में शेयर करता रहता था। उसके अलावा उसके कहने से इन्होंने एक ट्रोजन मालवेयर भी इसके मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल किया गया था जानबूझ के, ताकि इसको बार बार शेयर करना ना पड़े, और जो भी इसने जासूसी आर्मी का जो भी सिक्योरिटी इंफॉर्मेशन, इंटेलिजेंस इंफॉर्मेशन इसने अगर इंस्टॉल किया उसके अकाउंट में तो फ़ोन में ऑटोमेटिकली उनके पास पहुंचा जाता था। इसके अलावा हमारे इन्वेस्टिगेशन में ये पता चला कि दूसरे आरोपी जो रश्मनी है, जो मूल निवासी है दमन का, यूपी का, पर अभी हाल रहती है दमन में, वो भी व्हाट्सएप में ऑनलाइन में एक खालिद अने अब्दुल सत्तार करके दो आदमी के साथ संपर्क में आया था, जिसके कहने से ये उनका ये कहना था कि ये उनके बागरूप में काम करे और अलग अलग आर्मी के मूवमेंट और आर्मी ऑफिसर्स के इंफॉर्मेशन पता करके उनको पहुंचाए।
In fact, my colleague Swarali was present when the accused was being presented before the court. Let me just go across to Swarali. Swarali, what more details are you getting in terms of the investigation that has been carried out so far? Since when was he in touch with the Pakistani handlers?
Yes, that's true. Two people have been arrested in the from Gujarat in the Espionage case, and they were in contact with Pakistani handlers. Now, let me tell you, Ajay Singh, who hails from Goa, and on the other hand, Rashmani, who hails from Daman. She actually belongs from Uttar Pradesh, but stays in Daman. So, both of them are involved in the case with they are connected with the handlers in Pakistan. On one hand, Ajay Singh was himself a Subedar with Indian Army till 2022. He came in the contact with handlers when he was posted in Dimapur, and since then he is said to be sharing all the details about Indian Army's locations and positionings and transfers. He is supposed to share all the details with the Pakistani handlers. On the other hand, Rashmani, who is a tutor, was in touch with Khalid, and other Pakistani handler, and she was a conduit and used to trap people from and officers of Indian Army, used to get information and hence send it forward to Pakistani handlers. In this entire case,
we seem to have lost the line with Swarali. Confirmation now coming in that there is evidence that Gujarat ATS have secured in terms of the direct link between the accused and the handlers based out of Pakistan. Well, that's all that we could pack in this edition. More news coming up on the other side as we keep track the national aviation chaos that's taken place. Over 1,000 IndiGo flights have been disrupted and cancelled because of changes that have been made in the roster of the crew members.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, मसाला।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Over 1,000 IndiGo flights disrupted and cancelled today across airports as disruptions continue across multiple airports. Air India issues statement on flight delays, blames IndiGo for parking their flights on Pune airport tarmac for hours. DGCA rejects explanation given by IndiGo, says that they need time-bound intervention and solution. Fight erupts between Pilots Association and IndiGo management. Pilot body says disruption due to IndiGo's lean manpower strategy. US lawmakers write to US Secretary of State concerned over Pakistan's escalating campaign of transnational repression and human rights abuses under Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. Major success in Bijapur-Dantewada border encounter, 18 Maoists killed. Russian President Vladimir Putin to arrive in India at around 6 o'clock this evening to meet Prime Minister Modi later tonight. Getting in the latest details with regards to President Putin's arrival, now being told that Raksha Rajya has received Defense Minister of Russia, Andrei Belousov, at the Air Force Station Palam in New Delhi. Chief of Defense Staff General Anil Chauhan was also present. Russian Defense Minister will be co-chairing the 22nd India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military as well as Military Technical Cooperation Ministerial meeting with Raksha Rajya Mantri that's going to take place in a short while from now. We've also got more details in terms of the meeting that's going to take place and what perhaps would be on the agenda. In fact, these are the details that we have got in terms of the planned agenda. First, that's roughly are going to be on the results of their recent joint work. Second, they would be outlining new and promising areas for future cooperation is what we're being told has been part of the agenda. And certain regional security issues are likely to also be raised in the 22nd meeting of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military Technical Cooperation. Now, these are the details that are coming in right now. Ishan is joining us on this broadcast. Ishan, on the cards right now, of course, in terms of the procurement that is going to take place, S-400 becoming one of the biggest talking points. But with regards to this intergovernmental meeting that's going to take place, are you picking up anything with regards to the agenda?
The cooperation between the defense industries of India and Russia. The focus will be in joint production, transfer of technologies, and sale of ready-to-use weapon systems such as the S-400 and the Su-57 stealth aircrafts. However, the particular meeting between the two defense ministers will be focused on avenues of joint production and increase in the government to government level dealings between the two nations. The initial weapon system that had been earlier sold, such as the AK-203 under license production by IRRPL, and such weapons that are being produced in India, which have been developed in Russia or jointly developed. The export of such weapons is also a key aspect that will be discussed during these meetings, because India has now been producing a few of these platforms that were developed by Russia or jointly developed by India and Russia, such as the BrahMos, AK-203, the AK-630, which have now started production in India. Now, these are the particular weapon systems that are being produced in India. Now, the discussion will be on a standardized framework of export of such weapons from India to other friendly nations. Right now, the BrahMos missile is one of the most successful missiles that have been easily exported, and multiple countries have shown interest in procuring them as well. Similarly, some African nations have shown a keen interest in purchasing the AK-203 that is being produced in India. So such are the primary focus of this particular meeting between the two defense ministers.
Important thing that we're going to be all looking at, and also as the Russian premier is landing in New Delhi today, commencing his two-day diplomatic visit to India, the talks that are ensuring between him and the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi are set to cover grounds from energy, technology, trade, defense. Prominent in the defense talks is Russian fifth-generation fighter jet Sukhoi 57. Take a look.
Ahead of President Putin's arrival, there is a talk of big defense deal in the air. That of Russian fifth-generation fighter jets Sukhoi 57. Russia has offered unrestricted technology transfer in case India gets interested. A possible deal can plug a gaping hole in India's fighter jets arsenal, a fifth-generation jet to take on enemies to the east and the west. The aircraft has twin engines and boasts super maneuverability. Additionally, the aircraft can fly at Mach 2 speeds and has stealth capabilities to evade all radars. Hard selling the aircraft, spokesperson Dmitry Peskov stated that Su-57 is the best in the world. But this brings us to the key question everyone is asking. Is India actually moving towards acquiring the Su-57, or are these talks simply an exploration of future possibilities? The pluses include familiarity with the platform given the Su-30 experience for over 2 decades. With tech transfer offer from the Russians, HAL can manufacture and IAF can train and maintain without much additional costs. But with Americans exerting pressure for their F-35S, the game is still wide open.
As President Putin's plane lands in Delhi today, one name echoes through every strategic briefing: the S-400 Triumph, India's Sudarshan Chakra. 3 squadrons already staged ground and guard from Rajasthan to the northeast, and 7 months ago in Operation Sindoor, they proved why, shredding Pakistani jets before a single weapon could cross our border. A lesson the world will not forget. And when Prime Minister Modi sits down with President Putin, the S-400 will once again dominate the table. More deliveries, the leap to S-500, and a partnership that has never bowed to pressure.
As Vladimir Putin's plane touches down in New Delhi today, one weapon system dominates every closed-door briefing: the S-400 Triumph, India's Sudarshan Chakra. Signed in 2018 for $5.4 billion, 5 squadrons were contracted. 3 are already guarding Indian skies from Rajasthan to the northeast. And now, India is eyeing the evolved S-500 missiles. Despite multiple threats, India never blinked. And 7 months ago, the world saw why. In Operation Sindoor, India hit 9 terror camps, deep inside Pakistan in just 22 minutes. S-400 shot down multiple Pakistani fighters. Pakistani jets never managed to release a single weapon on Indian soil. The sky belonged to India. Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh called the S-400 an absolute game changer, and Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi called the operation a trusted orchestra with the S-400 as the lead conductor.
Surface-to-air missiles का engagement, I think जो हमने LR SAMs, जो long range SAMs खरीदी थी, जो S-400, they turned out to be a game changer in this. उनकी long range, the radars, the missile system could threaten the enemy aircraft well inside their own territory. तो हम कुछ ऐसा कर पाए कि वो अपने territory में भी operate नहीं कर पाए.
And on Wednesday, Kremlin spokesperson Peskov confirmed that the S-400 remains very high on agenda.
President Putin is coming with a very wide delegation. We will have certain members of delegation that will be able to discuss this issue in details. I have no doubt it will be mentioned also on the highest level. The only thing I will say that our military industry is working pretty well. And during last 4 years, we have managed to enlarge the volumes of production the way that we can not only satisfy the needs of our military forces during their military operation in Ukraine, but we also can allow continuation of export operations. Of course, this will be also the case for India. We're interested in continuation of cooperation in this very sensitive field, and hopefully we'll continue to do that.
And when Prime Minister Modi and Putin sit across the table, they won't just be discussing missiles. They will be renewing a decade-long partnership.
And there's breaking news that's coming in. This time it's coming in from Bangladesh's tribunal that's now issued a warrant against Sheikh Hasina's son, Joy. Bangladesh's tribunal ICT has also issued an arrest warrant against Sajib Wazid Joy, son of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Bangladesh's ICT issued this order on charges of committing crime against humanity when the internet was shut down during the student-led anti-government protests in 2024 July. The information came in from Justice Ghulam Murtaza's bench that delivered this order, and the ICT is a Bangladesh tribunal that took into consideration allegations against former state minister. Also, it is earlier this very bench that had also given the death sentence to former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for killing students allegedly during last year's protest. This year, now, this Dhaka court has sentenced her son on charges of committing crimes against humanity. Let's go across and cut across to details that are coming in. Raksha Mantri is with his Russian counterpart.
Обратно дойди.
Getting details on this visit, Raksha Mantri and the Russian counterpart having this meeting, Andrei Belosov also there. 22nd Indian-Russian military cooperation. Russian defense minister earlier arrived in the capital. A very key level, high-level discussion is also going to be there between India and Russia on defense cooperation, strategic partnership. This meeting is also going to be taking place. It's clearing key military logistics agreement. We're also going to be seeing very important meetings that are going to be there on, of course, the Su-57. That is the best stated to be the plane in the world. We're also being told at this time that these meetings are going to be high impact, with the defense minister of Russia, Mr. Andrei Belosov, meeting Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. They're at the war memorial currently, spending time at there. They're laying the wreath at the National War Memorial, after which the real meetings, the real agenda is going to be there set. Russian defense minister meets Rajnath Singh in that key important meeting that's also going to take place shortly, and the Russian defense minister meeting Rajnath Singh. We're also getting more visuals on
अरे यार सर अरे पीछे मत चल जा छोड़ दो
saying Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belosov in those shots that are coming in from New Delhi. They are going to be co-chairing the 22nd India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Military Technical Cooperation ministerial meeting in New Delhi. Also, Russian President Vladimir Putin set to visit India for the first time in 4 years. Today at around 6 p.m. he's going to land in India. Very key, because what we are looking at now is a strategic partnership, a special privileged alliance. My colleague Niranjan joining us on the phone line, our editor. Niranjan, very clearly this is a journey not only from strategic partnership to a special privileged alliance between India and Russia that we're going to be seeing.
Well, Rhythm, very interestingly, the defense minister of Russia, Andrei Belosov, and our Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh will also be co-chairing a 22nd India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission. This will be a military and military technical cooperation ministerial meeting. This is this evening. And in that meeting, they're going to be discussing a few critical aspects of defense cooperation between both India and Russia. But before that, he will be, of course, at the National War Memorial. That will be both Raksha Mantri Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his Russian counterpart, who will be at the National War Memorial to pay tribute to India's heroes. Now, on the table, when they both meet, they will also review entire range of defense cooperation, of course, by virtue of both looking after the defense portfolios in the respective countries, military technical cooperation, They will also exchange views on contemporary, regional and global issues of military interest to both nations. The agenda we are hearing, this is a key meeting where they will be also discussing delivery of the remaining S-400 air defense systems, given how critical it is now to India's air defense. India is also likely to examine the possibility of getting more S-400 units. And there is also a talk of acquiring Russia's next generation S-500. Now, all of these are up for talks when our defense minister meets his Russian counterpart Belousov this evening. And they are jointly today at the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Military Technical Cooperation. Rhythm, back to you.
Yes, absolutely. And that key meeting that we're all going to be looking forward to is very crucial. Like Niranjan was telling us, we're going to be seeing very, very crucial defense meetings that are going to be co-chaired between the Russian Defense Minister and Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh that are going to be on India-Russia Defense Commission. We stay with those visuals that have just come in. Like Niranjan was telling us that this is going to be an Russia-India Intergovernment Commission on Military and Military Technical Cooperation. What is very clear is that the entire range, viewers, of multifaceted relations between the two countries in the field of defense is going to be looked at during the meeting. There's going to be an exchange of views that's very important on the contemporary regional and global issues of mutual interest. The ministry had also at that time said that Mr. Belousov will also be laying the wreath, like we've just seen, at the National War Memorial. He has also paid tribute to the Indian soldiers who made the supreme sacrifice in the line of duty. So these are big deals on the table that we are seeing today that are going to be there. And Niranjan, if I could come back to you, very critical. I could also like to try and go across to my colleague Shavan Sen. All right, so as we're going to stay with that, viewers, with key regional global issues, the two countries have strategic interests that are going to be decided. A range of defense issues are going to be looked at here, and this is very critical because the defense minister and his counterpart from Russia, Andrei Belousov, who are going to be on that key intergovernmental commission, are going to be chairing this on military cooperation. Russia has always been our key strategic partner and an alliance with them. We're going to be seeing these ties very, very carefully as this visit of Vladimir Putin is also there. We're going to look at that. Coming up after a short break, we stay with these visuals. What's on the card? Defense, oil, trade. Modi, Putin going to meet tonight. That key meeting and our key advanced political, economic, defense, cultural, multilateral domains between India and Russia. All that on the cards today, right here on Republic TV. Coverage of that continues after a short break.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा प्योर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो तुम्हारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा प्योर मसाला।
ये कहानी है बदलाव की जिसने उन्हें हिम्मत दी, राह दिखाई और आत्मनिर्भर बनाया।
त्रिपुरा सरकार ने महिलाओं को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने के लिए कई परिकल्पनाएं शुरू की हैं ताकि वो अपनी आजीविका खुद तय कर सके।
अब त्रिपुरा की महिलाएं हर क्षेत्र में अपनी निर्णायक भूमिका निभा रही है।
The Indian Army has rarely spoken so loudly without uttering a word. And in exercise Ram Prahar, it delivered perhaps its clearest message from the Western Front in recent years, not through speeches or press conferences, but through a powerful demonstration of what it can actually do on the battlefield. What happened in the deserts and plains under Kharga Corp was not just another military exercise, but a carefully planned signal about capability and intent along our border with Pakistan. The numbers tell part of the story, with over 20,000 soldiers organized into battle groups that can fight independently, suggesting that the army is moving away from old defensive tactics toward a more aggressive approach that can strike on multiple fronts at once. This is not the army that waits behind borders anymore, but one that is ready to take the fight into enemy territory if provoked. The scenario itself, a cross-border offensive in response to a Pakistani attack, makes clear that India is no longer content with merely defending its borders, but is prepared to hit back hard and fast. What makes Ram Prahar different from past exercises is how everything worked together like a well-oiled machine. Tanks like the T-90S Bhishma and upgraded T-72 with night vision capabilities worked alongside artillery guns like the K-9 Vajra and Pinaka rocket launchers that can hit targets 90 kilometers away. The army showed it could cross deep rivers under fire using special bridge-laying tanks that can set up a 20-meter bridge in less than 4 minutes while enemy guns are firing at them. Special forces were dropped at night from heights of 25,000 feet deep behind enemy lines, showing that Indian forces can strike anywhere, not just at the border. But the real story is not about tanks and guns alone, but about how technology has changed warfare itself. The exercise used drones by the dozens, from surveillance platforms to swarms of 50 kamikaze drones that can attack targets on their own, alongside systems that can jam enemy drones and shoot them down. The time between spotting an enemy target and firing at it was reduced to just 5 minutes using computers and artificial intelligence that help commanders make faster decisions. Electronic warfare units jammed enemy communications across multiple frequencies while keeping Indian networks secure, and cyber teams practiced attacking enemy command centers digitally. Modern war is no longer just about who has more soldiers or bigger guns, but about who controls the invisible world of communications, satellites, and computer networks. The army demonstrated it could move, strike hard, and hold ground inside enemy territory within 72 to 96 hours, showing a strategy built on speed and shock rather than slow, grinding advances. This matters because in today's world, with television cameras and international pressure, military victories must come quickly before diplomacy forces everyone to stop. It reflects lessons from recent conflicts, where hesitation costs more than decisive action, and where the side that acts fastest often wins, regardless of overall strength. Equally important is that most of the equipment used was made in India, from Dhanush howitzers to indigenous bridges to homegrown kamikaze drones. This means India can fight a sustained war without depending on foreign suppliers who might refuse to send spare parts or ammunition during a crisis. The presence of some imported systems like Apache helicopters alongside Indian equipment shows a practical approach that uses the best available.
Good evening, welcome to Republic. I'm Ridhuma. Top focus is going to be on that very crucial meeting between India and Russia, Moscow and New Delhi, where Prime Minister Modi is going to be greeting President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, when he lands here for the 2-day visit. Remember, his first visit to India after 10 years, most crucial because this is his first visit after the Ukraine war has started. What's on the cards is going to be defense, trade, oil. But first, we're going to take a look at our key strategic alliance partner. First, a look at our top headlines. Raksha Mantri, Russian Defense Minister lay wreath at National War Memorial, pay tribute to Indian soldiers who sacrificed their life for the nation. Russian President Vladimir Putin to arrive in India at 6 p.m. today to meet Prime Minister Modi later today. Air India issues statement on flight delays, blames IndiGo for parking their flight on Pune airport tarmac for hours. DGCA rejects the explanation given by IndiGo, says they need time-bound intervention and solutions. Fight between Pilots Association and IndiGo management. Pilots body says disruption due to IndiGo's lean manpower strategy. There's a major success in Bijapur-Dantewada border encounter. 18 Maoists are killed. And we're going to first go across to the visuals that have just come in a short while ago. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, Russian Defense Minister, his counterpart Andrei Belousov laid the wreath at the National War Memorial just a short while ago. These are the live pictures that had just come in from the capital. Very crucial as India and Russia are going to be now looking at very key deals that they're going to look at. We're also going to be seeing the key intergovernment cooperation, intergovernment commission that's going to be looking at detailed meetings that are going to be held between the two defense ministers today. We're also going to be looking at the strategic partnership that's been in place since 2000. Remember, this is extremely critical to understand because as the defense minister arrived in Delhi, he's going to be co-chairing the key meeting on military cooperation with our Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. During this meeting, Rajnath Singh and Belousov, Russian defense minister, are also going to be reviewing the multifaceted ties between the two nations. We can see both of them there at the National War Memorial. Let me go across first to our senior executive editor, Abhishek, and my colleague Ishan joining us. Abhishek, I want to come across to you. For several days, we've been seeing you've been having a word with the embassy officials. Abhishek, what are you picking up on the importance of this key meeting?
Well, this is just ahead of the annual summit meeting between the respective leaders, President Putin of Russia and Prime Minister Modi of India, that happens in New Delhi tomorrow. And this is essentially about an appraisal of the defense partnership, which is a key component of the overall architecture of India-Russia relationship rhythm. The fact that even now, despite some changes over the last decade, almost 40% of Indian military hardware is of Russian vintage, from our T-90 Bhisham tanks to the MiGs, to Sukhois, to the BrahMos and the S-400s. So, this all this, one, needs to be maintained, refurbished, upgraded, and two, the offers that the Russian delegation has come up with, an offer for Su-57s, for example, Russia's fifth generation fighter aircraft, Sukhoi 57. And then, of course, we want more of S-400s. The already existing order still needs to be completed. We had ordered 5, we have 3, we need 2 more, and the Russians have delayed it. All those things are going to be very important part of the conversation that's going to take place as we speak. In fact, it should have begun between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his Russian counterpart Andrei Belousov. And the fact that they have this part of the delegation has come in advance and they are having this dialogue, which means that there is an element of prep so that whatever decisions are taken in this, we are told that a decision might not be taken, for example, on Sukhoi 57s, but a deal is finalized on nuclear submarines worth about $2 billion. That might be part of the announcement tomorrow. So, final touches to that. Then taking forward the conversation on the possibility of an upgrade from S-400s, which again, remember I mentioned, still need to be completely delivered, to an upgrade to S-500, which is a concept weapon system which the Russians have readied, but then and a very advanced version of S-400s, which can go much higher in terms of its missile capabilities. But then Russians have to first deliver on what they have already taken money for. So I think in that sense, it's going to be a very important dialogue, India-Russia defense dialogue that's taking place as we speak. And as I mentioned, a couple of deals to be finalized, talks to take things forward on S-400 delivery, upgrade to S-500 if it happens in future, not now. And then, of course, the talk of Sukhoi 57, a possibility of manufacturing in India, the fact that India already has an ecosystem existing for Sukhois over the last 2.5 decades and more, which means that if you look at it for the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, for example, for the Indian Air Force, it would just be an upgrade in terms of training, maintenance, manufacture, etc. If the technology transfer that Russians are promising really happens. So it's a very important gap in India's overall Air Force architecture, the 5th generation aircraft. We have a choice between F-35, which the Americans have offered, and of course the Russians now making Sukhoi 57s available, but with much larger component of tech transfer. And as it goes with American weapon systems, the kill switch there with them, which they control, and the kind of limited tech transfer that they do. So that choice, of course, it's a part of larger conversation happening in India's defense establishment as to which option we should exercise. But dialogue, of course, has to happen even before, that stage is reached where you are looking at AO and assessment of necessity, as it is called, and then you go into finer details of testing, etc. It's much earlier than that, but some dialogue has to happen, and which is going to happen between the two sides, the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his Russian counterpart Belousov.
Thank you for that. Abhishek Kapoor joining us with details as the defense ministers of both India and Russia pay tribute at the National War Memorial. We will be live through this evening. Vladimir Putin will be landing in India a little after 6:30 p.m. Those are pictures coming in from the National War Memorial. Let's go on and get you some more breaking news updates coming in right now. In the case of Selena Jaitley and her brother Major Jaitley, the Delhi High Court has directed the Ministry of External Affairs to establish contact between actor Selena Jaitley and her brother, who has been detained in the UAE. Rhythm Anand Bharadwaj joining us with the details. Rhythm, tell us what happened in court.
Yes, the Delhi High Court has put this case with a status report to be filed and direction being given to the MEA for the next hearing, Niranjan. 23rd December, this case is next going to come up. Selena Jaitley had wanted to establish contact with her brother who's detained in the UAE. The matter was listed before the Delhi High Court. The court had asked whether she had been able to contact her brother, and her counsel had told the court she has not been able to. The court had said, do you want us to arrange with the prison authorities to call you for some contact to be established? Then the government's counsel had told the Delhi High Court that we've already done that. We've requested them to add the wife and the sister's number has also been added in the calling card. And he has chosen to contact his wife. So the court has very clearly been told by the government today that the brother has established contact with his wife. Another thing that has been told is that the court says the jail authorities may know, he may not. You facilitate through the embassy. So the court is trying to tell the MEA that through the embassy in UAE, try and ensure that the brother and sister have a contact. The wife's counsel appeared virtually and told the court that she had a video call a few days ago and had physically also met the brother. They've said there seems to be, and I'm just putting it out there, seems to be some disconnect between the wife and Selena Jaitley, the sister of the person who's been detained in the UAE. The counsel for the wife has said this petition is frivolous. There seems to be some issue. So I'm going to go back to you, Niranjan, for all the latest. 23rd December, this case is going to come up next.
Thank you for joining us with those inputs, Rhythm. Going across to more pictures that are coming in as we stay with those pictures of the defense minister of both India and Russia. Minister of State in the Defense Ministry today. He met Rajnath Singh and was at the National War Memorial, inspecting the Guard of Honor in the national capital. These are pictures coming in. Ahead of the key meeting between both Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his Russian counterpart Andrei Belousov. Now, both leaders will be at the 22nd India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Military Tech Cooperation. It's a ministerial meeting between the two ministers in Delhi. It's happening as we speak. The Russian president will be landing at 6:30, and before his arrival, his ministers are already at work. And this is, of course, for the first time in 4 years after the Ukraine war that Russian President Vladimir Putin is visiting. And the two ministers of both Russia and India will be discussing military and military technical cooperation. Now, on their table will be military cooperation, key talks on the timely delivery, for example, of the S-400 defense systems. India is also likely to examine the possibility of acquiring additional S-400 units. That's been on the radar, and we've been asking the Russians to ensure that the delivery happens on time. We may also opt for Russia's next generation S-500 systems. Now, S-500 is the next gen. S-400 has proven what it's capable of in Operation Sindoor, during Operation Sindoor, and our armed forces have spoken about it. And that is one of the key discussions when the Russian defense minister meets our defense minister Rajnath Singh. These are pictures coming in from the Manekshaw Center in the national capital. That's where the intergovernmental meeting is on. Republic TV is live. And in this meeting, ladies and gentlemen, it's also likely that we will take up cooperation in the shipbuilding. And there's been a big buzz around submarine deal valued at nearly $2 billion that is likely to be inked between both India and Russia. And we are going to talk about shipbuilding, jointly developing weapon system. We already have cooperation with Russia on different weapon systems. MiGs, the MiG series 27, already manufactured in India by HAL, Sukhoi 30 MKI, Mark 1, already being manufactured in India. BrahMos jointly developed with Russia, being manufactured in India. In Lucknow, there's a new unit which manufactures BrahMos. And there will be many more defense pacts that will be signed, which may include, and not confirmed, may include perhaps even civilian aircraft manufacturing that could take place in India. That's one of the key takeaways that are expected from this meeting. And this meeting is on right now. Joint development, of course, of advanced versions of BrahMos variants will also be discussed. BrahMos, highly in demand across the world after its success in Operation Sindoor. Belousov, the Russian defense minister, will also get a glimpse of India's defense manufacturing capabilities in the meeting that is taking place as we speak in New Delhi. Meeting likely to be followed by a private dinner. And top defense officials are present from both India and Russia. S-400, top of the table. S-500, top of the table. Updated BrahMos on top of the table. Abhishek Kapoor, my senior executive editor, joining us on the live broadcast. Abhishek, S-400, S-500. The big one, of course, will be on Sukhoi 57 possibility that, whether that will be discussed at all. Perhaps when our Prime Minister meets the Russian President. What are you picking up, Abhishek, when the two ministers meet, the two defense ministers? What will be on top of their agenda?
Well, on top of the agenda is a complete appraisal of India-Russia defense partnership, but more specifically a couple of deals, Niranjan, and let me name them. So one is, of course, the S-400s. Remember, we ordered 5, we got 3, 2 still remain. Now, the Russians have strained manufacturing situation because of their ongoing war in Europe. But the fact of the matter is we have already made an offer, and despite the delays, they should be coming now. So that's one. The second is connected with S-400s, whether we can now start manufacturing some components of S-400, the missiles, etc., with a technology transfer happening from the Russians in India. That's going to make it a little more long-lasting and more durable. So that's another. Third is connected with S-400s, the possibility of upgrade to S-500s, which is a concept weapon system which the Russians have. They have hogged it during the Bengaluru Aero India show and even in Dubai Air Show. And there might be some initial talks on whether we can look at that direction, because S-500 is not just an upgraded version of S-400 in terms of the distance that the air shield or air defense shield is available, but also the height and elevation up to which the missiles can go. So it includes part of the space command also. So that's another connected with S-400. Then let's come to the Sukhoi 57s. Russia's fifth generation fighter aircraft. India is in need of one, and we have been looking at options. Americans and the Trump administration has offered F-35s, very expensive. So that's one. Second, with the Americans, typically the tech transfer does not happen. The Russians are willing to go more than halfway house, meet more than halfway house, and make a tech transfer up to 50% or more in terms of Sukhoi 57. So whether some talks happen on that is something which we are closely watching, and observers, not just in India and Russia, but around the world, would be watching what comes out of these defense talks. A very concrete agreement, Niranjan, is on nuclear submarines. And we have been, a client, so to say, of Russian submarines, most of our kilo-class submarines based on Russian platforms. And so that's another aspect, a $2 billion worth of deal most likely to take place for that. INS Ariane, for example, India's indigenously developed nuclear submarine, has many Russian design components, so to say. Similarly, in the case of our aircraft carriers, so, this whole thing of much of our war machine being of Russian vintage, from the T-90 tanks in the case of Army to the MiGs and Sukhois in the case of Air Force, and of course our aircraft carrier, the original Gorshkov, and of course the submarines. Over the last decade, things have changed, Niranjan. From about 60-70% Russian component coming down to about 36% now, 36-40%. But despite that, it remains a big number. It's a big number of any war machine. So obviously, these talks, when they happen in a while from now, as of now, a red carpet welcome being given to the Russian Defense Minister, Andrei Belousov. And immediately after this, they are going to be in talks. I believe the red carpet is getting over now, and the two leaders now would be closeted for their dialogue. And the fact that this is happening before Prime Minister Modi and President...
Abhishek, there was a key development in the Selena Jaitley case. Selena Jaitley, I believe, is live. There has been a development. I think she's live. Let's cut across.
Sir, it was also talked about that there is some app that needed some kind of registration.
No, so that's the coordination she was talking about. They had already sought to facilitate our access to an app, but that app only allows UAE residents to access and download it, and Selena is not a UAE resident. She does not have an Emirates ID, and neither does Vikrant have a valid Emirates ID. So communication only happens through diplomatic channels now, and that is what the court has directed, that best efforts be made that this access be granted since the app is not functional for her.
Sir, certain submissions were also made by the counsel who was appearing through VC, who was the counsel for the wife. He was also making certain submissions that they have accessed, they have got in touch with the person over there.
I would not be aware of those. There was a person who appeared who was purportedly representing the wife and Vikrant. He seemed to be certainly perturbed. And I think the ASG responded to him in court in the right manner, that he should be, non-adversarial. And so we have nothing to say in this regard.
So the Council for Central Government of India was also submitting that the Major Vikrant has chosen not to talk to Selena.
No, she did not. She was saying that since we have updated Selena's calling card, perhaps it might be the case where he does not want to talk, but then we clarified the legal position in law that it is an impossibility for him to contact Selena even if he has the number, because that authorization has to be given by the prison authorities. So he definitely will want to contact his sister, because as a matter of fact, we know that he reached out to his sister, and we are hopeful that they will get in touch soon. And more than that, we are hopeful that he'll come back.
Ma'am, anything that you want to say on...
Ma'am, how you are confident about today's hearing and direction passed by the High
It has been a very, very long 15 months, and I'm very happy about today's directive. I will finally be able to see my brother and contact him. Yes.
So, is there any communication when they are going to have the next consular meeting?
अभी तक तो कुछ नहीं है. Of course, they will intimate us once they have the access, because this is not in India; it's in another country. So it depends with international coordination, and I'm sure they will inform us when that is possible. Thank you so much.
Okay, a big development. In fact, it is a small win for Selena Jaitley. She's been asking for answers from the government on the status of her brother, Major Vikrant Jaitley. And as we speak, we are hearing that the court has allowed, or rather asked, the Ministry of External Affairs to ensure that she's establishing contact with her brother, who has been detained in the UAE. The court, the Delhi High Court in this case, has directed the Ministry of External Affairs to ensure that Selena Jaitley establishes contact with her brother. The court asked Selena whether she's been able to contact her brother, and Selena Jaitley's counsel said no, the detainee couldn't choose who to call, and to download the app they spoke about the Emirates ID. There is an app through which you can contact, but that app could not be used, and Selena maintained that she had no idea about what's the status on her brother for the last 16 months. The court also asking whether they wanted some arrangement to be made for the prison authorities in the UAE to call Selena Jaitley, or for some contact to be established from the UAE side, adding that the status report clearly says that he needed legal representation, and the centre told the court that Major Vikrant Jaitley had received consular access, and it was stated that he's chosen not to call her. They are estranged. It is a family issue, is what the centre has said in court. So it's a critical statement made by the centre in court. The centre has said that he received consular access. All right, we're cutting across live to the pictures coming in from New Delhi, ladies and gentlemen, of the development in Delhi on Russian Defense Minister. Cutting across straight, Rajnath Singh.
Close interaction की थी.
Ваше превосходительство, на высшем уровне есть регулярные продуктивные контакты между уважаемым премьер-министром Индии Нарендром Моди и уважаемым президентом Российской Федерации, его превосходительством Владимиром Путиным. На полях саммита ШОШ в Китае оба наши лидеры провели плотные встречи в июне 2025 года.
एक्सेलेंसी इकोनॉमिक साइड पर हम पिछले महीने मॉस्को में हुए इंडिया रशिया वर्किंग ग्रुप ऑन ट्रेड एंड इकोनॉमिक कोऑपरेशन की 26th मीटिंग के सफल आयोजन का स्वागत करते हैं और हम रशिया लेड यूरेशियन इकोनॉमिक यूनियन के साथ फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट के लिए बातचीत शुरू होने का भी स्वागत करते हैं.
Ваше превосходительство, об экономических отношениях Индия приветствует успешное проведение 26-го заседания Межправительственной комиссии по торгово-экономическому сотрудничеству в Москве в прошлом месяце, а также приветствуем, что начинаются переговоры о соглашении о свободной торговле с Евразийским экономическим союзом.
एक्सेलेंसी हम 23rd इंडिया रशिया एनुअल समिट के लिए रशियन फेडरेशन के प्रेसिडेंट हिज एक्सेलेंसी मिस्टर व्लादिमीर पुतिन के भारत आने का भी बेसब्री से इंतजार कर रहे थे, वह आज पूरा हुआ है.
Ваше превосходительство, мы также с нетерпением ждали и приветствовать его превосходительство господина Владимира Владимировича Путина, президента Российской Федерации, и который будет провести 23-й ежегодный индо-российский саммит, и сегодня поступил этот день.
और ये लीडर्स समिति दोनों देशों के बीच स्पेशल और प्रिविलेज पार्टनरशिप को और मजबूत करेगी, ऐसा मेरा विश्वास है. इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ योर एक्सेलेंसी मैं आपसे आपके रिमार्क्स के लिए अनुरोध करूंगा. धन्यवाद.
Этот саммит будут углублять и укреплять особые и привилегированные партнерства между нашими странами. ваше превосходительство, я сейчас завершу и прошу вас за вступительные слова. Спасибо.
Уважаемый господин министр, уважаемые коллеги, друзья, намасте.
Намасте.
Thank you so much, distinguished minister, distinguished colleagues, distinguished guests. Namaste.
Искренне рад нашей новой встрече на индийской земле. Благодарны за гостеприимство, оказанное нам с первых минут пребывания в Нью-Дели.
I sincerely glad to meet you once again on Indian soil. We are grateful for the hospitality shown to us from the first minutes of stay in New Delhi.
Как вы сказали, господин министр, наши страны связывает крепкая, проверенная временем дружба, основанная на взаимном уважении.
As you just said, our countries are tied with a solid, time-proven friendship which is based on mutual respect.
И вот сейчас мы с господином министром вместе ехали в машине, обсуждали разные вопросы и пришли к общему мнению, что она базируется на очень глубоких ценностях, которые свойственны и российскому, и индийскому обществу.
And on our way here, while we were in the car discussing various things, we came to the common ground that we are binded with a very deep traditions which are very typical for the Russian and Indian nations.
В этом году отмечается 80-летие победы в Великой Отечественной войне 1941-1945 годов. И я благодарю индийскую делегацию за участие в торжественных мероприятиях, которые проходили в Москве в мае этого года.
This year we mark 80th anniversary of victory in Great Patriotic War 1941-1945, and I personally thank Indian delegation for the participants in the solemn activities which were organized in Moscow May this year.
Наши двусторонние отношения носят стратегический характер. Партнерство с Индией является залогом равновесия в южноазиатском регионе и глобальной безопасности в целом.
Our bilateral relations have a strategic character, and the partnership with India is a key factor for the balance in South Asian region and the global security in general.
Россия оказывает полноценное содействие Индии в формировании современного облика сухопутных войск, военно-воздушных и военно-морских сил. И, пользуясь случаем, хотел бы поздравить вас, господин министр, командование и всех индийских военных моряков с Днем национальных военно-морских сил.
Russia cooperates in full scale with India in formation of the new outlook of the Army, Air Force and the Navy. And using this opportunity, let me congratulate you, the command and all Indian sailors with National Navy Day.
Господин министр, существенный вклад в принятие эффективных и взаимовыгодных решений в оборонной сфере вносит межправительственная комиссия по военному и военно-техническому сотрудничеству.
Distinguished Minister, Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Military Technical Cooperation brings a huge dedication and taking part in taking effective and mutually beneficial decisions in the military domain.
Сегодня подведем итоги ее работы и определим задачи на будущее.
Today we sum up its work and define the new tasks for future.
Разрешите представить членов российской делегации.
Let me introduce the delegates of the Russian Federation.
Осьмаков Василий Сергеевич, заместитель министра обороны Российской Федерации.
Осьмаков Василий Сергеевич, the Deputy Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation.
Шугаев Дмитрий Евгеньевич, директор Федеральной службы по военно-техническому сотрудничеству Российской Федерации.
Шугаев Дмитрий Евгеньевич, Director of the Federal Service on Military Technical Cooperation of the Russian Federation.
Лысогорский Кирилл Алексеевич, первый заместитель министра промышленности и торговли Российской Федерации.
Лысогорский Кирилл Алексеевич, the first Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade of the Russian Federation.
Генерал-лейтенант Бабич Михаил Викторович, статс-секретарь, заместитель директора Федеральной службы по военно-техническому сотрудничеству Российской Федерации.
Lieutenant General Babich Mikhail Viktorovich, he is a State Secretary and Deputy Director of the Federal Service of Military Technical Cooperation of Russian Federation.
Генерал-майор Орехов Алексей Анатольевич, начальник Главного управления международного военного сотрудничества Министерства обороны Российской Федерации.
Major General Orechov Alexei Anatольевич, he is the head of the main directorate on international military cooperation of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation.
Генерал-лейтенант Делевский Игорь Николаевич, заместитель начальника Главного оперативного управления Генерального штаба Вооруженных сил Российской Федерации, председатель российской части российско-индийской рабочей группы по военному сотрудничеству.
Lieutenant General Delevsky Igor Nikolaevich, he is the deputy chief of the main operational directorate of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, also a chairman from the Russian side in Russian-Indian Working Group on Military Cooperation.
Генерал-майор Пескунов Виктор Владимирович, советник Генерального штаба Вооруженных сил Российской Федерации.
Major General Piskunov Viktor Vladimirovich, he is advisor from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation.
Михеев Александр Александрович, генеральный директор акционерного общества Рособоронэкспорт.
Mikheyev Alexander Alexandrovich, he is the Director General of Rosoboronexport Corporation.
Молостов Валерий Иванович, начальник департамента управления президента Российской Федерации по внешней политике.
Molostov Valery Ivanovich, he is the head of the Foreign Policy Department of the President Administration of the Russian Federation.
Гутенев Владимир Владимирович, первый заместитель председателя Общероссийской общественной организации Союз машиностроителей России.
Gutenyov Vladimir Vladimirovich, he is the first deputy of the chairman of all Russian community organization, the Union of Machine Builders of Russia.
Козлов Александр Леонидович, заместитель директора департамента Министерства иностранных дел Российской Федерации.
Kozlov Alexander Leonidovich, he is the deputy director of the Department of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation.
Баистов Виктор Владимирович, референт аппарата Совета Безопасности Российской Федерации.
Baistov Viktor Vladimirovich, he is Assistant Secretary Council of the Russian Federation.
И капитан первого ранга Вяткин Евгений Сергеевич, начальник третьего управления Главного управления кадров Министерства обороны Российской Федерации.
And Navy Captain Vyatkin Evgeny Sergeyevich, he is the head of the third direction of the main directorate of personnel of Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation.
В зале присутствуют также представители российского оборонно-промышленного комплекса.
In our hall together, we are present all the representatives from the Defense Industrial Complex.
Убежден, что наша встреча будет способствовать укреплению российско-индийских отношений в области обороны и безопасности. Благодарю за внимание.
I'm sure that our meeting today will facilitate the strengthening of Russian-Indian relations in the domain of defense and security. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I would also like to introduce my delegation members. Chief of Defense Staff, General Anil Chauhan. Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Ganesh Kumar Tripathi. Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi. Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal Amarpreet Singh. Defense Secretary, Sri Rajesh Kumar Singh. Secretary Defense Production, Sri Sanjeev Kumar. Secretary DD&D and Chairman DRDO, Dr. Samir V. Kamath. DG Acquisition, Sri
Both sides making their introductory comments, laying the ground for what will be critical talks. Highest level, it is the highest level ministerial and military level talks that are ongoing between both Russia and India. And from the Indian side, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, the lone minister, along with top bureaucrats who look at defense procurement, the Defense Department, along with our three chiefs of staff, the Chief of Defense Staff also present, the topmost generals of India, along with our Defense Minister and top bureaucrats, along with the Russian delegation, which is being represented by the Russian Defense Minister Belousov. And it's a top-level ministerial delegation, even from Russia, that is present. And their intel, military and defense staff also part of the talks that are now underway. And in these talks, in a few minutes from now, key military cooperation will be discussed. Now, on the table will be the critical deals, the areas of cooperation in the field of defense, My colleague Rhythm is also joining us live. And as we talk about the military, the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Military Technical Cooperation, meeting that's now underway at the Manekshaw Center in the national capital. Rajnath Singh, Belousov reviewing the multifaceted ties between both countries. Rhythm, over to you.
Absolutely, and this is very crucial as we are getting this news that crucial India-Russia key defense cooperation meet that has started. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, CDS and three chiefs are part of the Indian delegation. Very crucial Modi-Putin meet tonight. Rajnath has also, Defense Minister has said India has been waiting for Vladimir Putin's visit to India. And viewers, moments ahead of Russian President Vladimir Putin landing in India, Russia's Minister of Economic Development says they are ready to issue permits for flights for Indian airlines. That's the big breaking news that we're getting right now. Just moments ahead of Russian President Putin's landing, we're getting this news from Russia's Economic Development Minister. They are ready to issue permits for flights for Indian airlines. Russia is eyeing boost in tourism ties with India. Let's listen in to a reaction coming in.
Now we have 15 flights a week between the two countries made by Russian airline. Between Russia and China, to compare, we have 220 flights per week. UAE 369 flights every week. 12 international airlines fly to Russia. So we're ready to cooperate and give the permits for flighs for Indian airlines. So with also offer to develop this area. In development of tourism, we're adapting our hospitality sector for the demands of Indian travelers. Starting this year in Moscow, we have India-friendly standard introduced. Esteemed colleagues, dear friends, we value trust and interest of India towards Russian economy, and we're always open for cooperation, and we're ready to tackle all tasks and questions emerging together and convert ideas of Indian businesses into real projects in Russia. You are very, very welcome.
And Russia eyes boost in tourism. They're ready to issue permits for Indian flights. Russian president is about to land shortly. We're getting this boost for tourism. Russia is eyeing boost in tourism ties with India. Moments ahead of Russian President Putin landing in India, Russia's Minister of Economic Development has said they will be issuing permits for flights for Indian airlines. Shortly, Russian president to land. We're also going to now go across to our Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor joining us from our newsroom. Abhishek, what lies ahead in this special strategic partnership between India and Russia?
Well, you see, Rhythm, this is the 15th anniversary, or soon going to be 15th anniversary of India and Russia establishing the special and privileged strategic partnership later in this month. And this summit is happening essentially in the backdrop of that. Now, when you say special privileged partnership, why so? Because it goes back decades and it has endured through all the ups and downs, through the Cold War, to the end of Cold War, to the Cold War 2.0 as we are going through. And it's been a very stable relationship of India in the Committee of Nations. So in that sense, it's actually a very genuinely special and privileged partnership. Privileged because it has a defense component, strategic component, a little weaker on the economic side. And that seems to be the focus this time when the two leaders meet tomorrow at the Hyderabad House. And of course, the private dinner that they are going to have tonight at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, where they're going to do an appraisal of sorts of where things stand. Remember, President Putin is coming to New Delhi after a gap of 4 years. I think the first time he's coming after the start of the Ukraine war in April of 2022. A lot of things have changed. The whole geopolitical scene is very different with the coming of Trump, the tariff wars, the trade wars, and of course the ongoing trouble spots, including Europe, including the Middle East. And so the two leaders would be talking at length about what's there in their mind about how things should be, how they are, and how they can, move things from where they are to where they should be in terms of the Indian perspective and the Russian perspective. Defense, as I said, is a very important and key component of the relationship, energy security being the other. But defense first, because as we speak, delegation talks are going on between the respective defense establishments. Rajnath Singh leading the Indian side and Andrei Belousov leading the Russian side. S-400s, the tremendous amount of success that we had with S-400 weapon system during Operation Sindoor, the pending order of 2 more. We had ordered 5, 3, we got 3. The 2 more have to come, and the Russians have delayed it because their own war machine manufacturing establishment or the military industrial complex is stretched because of their ongoing war in Europe. In fact, if the war ends in Europe, there is going to be a positive spin-off for us also in that sense, with the sanctions easing, with the, their military industrial complex in a better situation to cater to our requirements. So the 2 leaders tomorrow would be, and tonight also would be talking about how to really bring an end to this war. Donald Trump really wants it. And maybe that's one issue on which all sides look in one direction. So maybe a lot of give and take there. Coming back to the defense component, S-400s, upgrade of S-400s, possible manufacturing of some parts of S-400, the missile systems at least in India. Then the fifth generation fighter aircrafts, Sukhoi 57s, which the Russians are coming with an offer of some preliminary talks on that, irrespective of whether India really decides to take it to the next level and consider do we really need a fifth generation aircraft to buy from outside in the interim that India's own AMCA, which is not exactly fifth generation but almost there, gets ready, which is still a decade away. So to plug that gap for a decade, do we really go for a Sukhoi 57 or the American F-35? That's something which has been talked about in India's defense establishment for a while, but talks would happen on that. Apart from that, BrahMos increasing its manufacturing, advanced version. Then going back to S-400, Russians also have the concept weapon system of S-500, much upgraded version of S-400. So on that, provided, of course, they complete the delivery of the already existing order. All those things. On the naval side, there is a done deal almost of a $2 billion worth of nuclear submarines. That's, you are going to see an announcement tomorrow. So the final, touching of loose ends there in these talks that are happening as we speak, Rhythm. So tremendous amount of defense component in the relationship and a tremendous amount of focus consequently on that happening. The fact that the defense minister has traveled in advance. Remember, President Putin is coming with 9 cabinet ministers, including his Minister of Finance, including Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Manturov, including Denis Manturov, I beg your pardon, and his defense minister has come in advance so that by the time the 2 leaders are meeting, there is clarity on the contours of what all is on the table and what all needs to be signed into an agreement tomorrow and what all is something which is futuristic, but still talks have happened. So that's what's happening. But the larger issues, energy security, geostrategic alignment, one very specific reason why India is engaging with Russia at this level is that we really don't want them to really, completely lean on China. And that aspect is also there if you look at geopolitical terms. So all those things, Rhythm, are there, and hopefully by the time the 2 leaders meet in a couple of hours from now, President Putin is all set to arrive by 6:30 p.m. New Delhi time. And a lot of groundwork would have already been done by the respective establishments in the foreign ministries, the Ministry of External Affairs, and of course the Defense Ministry, Commerce Ministry. Remember, Commerce Minister also had a forum meeting a while back in the afternoon. Tomorrow, in fact, there is a business summit also taking place at Bharat Mandapam, where the 2 leaders would make an appearance, both Prime Minister Modi and President Putin. So everything that concerns India and Russia relationship is there on the table, and everything is being discussed through these platforms, through those bilaterals, through those delegation talks that are panning out as we speak, Rhythm.
Absolutely. And Abhishek, as you've given us a broad details about what's going to be on the cards for the next 2 days, it's very exciting to see how this partnership is going to be broadened further as there are global eyes on this. I thank you for joining us. Viewers, also Russian President Vladimir Putin, like Abhishek was telling us, arrives in India today for a 2-day visit with focus on strengthening ties in defense, trade, energy. A key highlight of the visit is the expected signing of the MOU on civil nuclear cooperation, exploring new technologies like small modular reactors. This comes as India opens its nuclear power sector to private players, aiming for greater energy security and cleaner power. With this and Kudankulam, a testament to the partnership, India and Russia are set to take their decades-old collaboration to the next level.
India and Russia buckle up to enter into a new era of civil nuclear cooperation. Russian President Putin is set to visit India on December 4th and 5th, strengthening ties amid global tensions and a focus on defense, trade, and energy partnerships. President Putin will also be accompanied by Russia's nuclear corporation's Rosatom's head.
Russia and Indian relationship is not just a standard set of diplomatic protocols and trade agreements. It's more of that. It's much more important. Our bilateral relationship rests on a deep historic background of mutual understanding, of partnership, and a mutual vision of global affairs and system of global affairs based on international law, on rule of law, and ability of taking into account each other's interests. This is a very, very important characteristic of our joint vision of the global affairs.
One of the main agendas being signing the MOU to deepen bilateral engagement in civil nuclear energy sector. With one of India's oldest allies, Putin, visiting New Delhi, the Indo-Russia collaboration in civil nuclear energy will also be formalized. What makes this pact even more exceptional is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already opened the doors of the previously restricted nuclear power sector for private players, aiming to boost the country's energy security and meet its growing power demands. A monument to the India-Russia cooperation, Kudankulam stands tall as India's largest nuclear power complex. Rosatom has also expressed readiness to localize advanced Russian-designed reactors in India. The possible expansion into SMRs and localization aligns with India's long-term nuclear ambitions. India looks to scale clean baseload energy capacity while reducing reliance on fossil fuels. With this move, India takes a significant step towards boosting its nuclear energy capacity, aiming for cleaner power and greater energy independence.
In the backdrop of President Vladimir Putin's visit to India, New Delhi and Moscow are looking to reset and rebalance their economic partnership. With trade touching a record high but heavily skewed in Russia's favor, major defense and energy deals are on the table. This visit could define the next decade of bilateral ties. Here's what's driving the relationship and what's up for negotiation.
The bilateral trade between India and Russia hit an unprecedented $68.7 billion in FY 2024-25, nearly 6 times the pre-pandemic levels. But the imbalance is sharp. India exports stand at just $4.88 billion, while imports from Russia are at $63.84 billion, driven mainly by cheap crude and fertilizers. Despite this skew, India and Russia are aiming to push bilateral trade to $100 billion by 2030. India is looking to increase shipments of machinery, chemicals, food products and pharmaceuticals, while Russia wants deeper cooperation in energy, minerals and technology. The upcoming talks are likely to focus on next-generation defense platforms. India may see clarity on Russia's ability to deliver the remaining S-400 units, while evaluating proposals for the Su-57 stealth fighters and the S-500 missile shield. Expectations are also high around talks on advanced nuclear technologies, with proposals likely on small modular reactors, faster deployment timelines, and joint work on next-generation fuel cycles. Even the issue of oil economics is also something that will be discussed, especially in the backdrop of US sanctions. While discounted Russian crude remains attractive, New Delhi may seek long-term pricing stability, diversified shipping routes, and cooperation in LNG to avoid external pressure, specifically from the US.
So we're looking forward for possibilities, despite everything, to ensure our right of selling oil and to ensure a right of those who want to purchase oil to ensure the right to